Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Apocalypse of 100 Demons. I became the strongest demon tamer. Chapter 21. Chen Qing sat back on the carpet to practice again. Thinking of Chen Shi made him feel sick. What the hell was wrong with him in his previous life that he would fall for such a thing? But practicing was more important now, so he calmed down and sat cross-legged again. Practice can't be rushed, but the blood moon is getting closer and closer. After learning the Black Prison Ghost contract technique, there are still a lot of things to do, so he must speed up. Chen Qing, can you go out with me today? Chen Man came over. Chen Qing thought for a while and shook his head. Let those brothers play with you, okay. He rang the service bell. Chen Qing also wanted to enjoy the comfort that was about to be gone. But he couldn't. Then I won't go. Chen Man shook his head expressionlessly. I wonder if he was disappointed. Time passed quickly, and it was midnight. Chen Qing stood up slowly, pointing his finger at a teapot. Black prison. A black gas suddenly enveloped Chen Qing and the teapot. The next moment, the two appeared in a black space. The space was circular, without walls, and was covered by something that looked like fog and tentacles, hazy and extremely unreal. The teapot lay quietly at the bottom of his feet, kicked it casually, and rolled around. Once locked up in the black prison with a surrendered, so that the souls of the two would be unified and the black prison would be lifted. This was Chen Qing's trick to deal with the Ghost King of the Demon Suppression Tower. Force it to choose. Either kill yourself, and you are the master of the Demon Suppression Tower, which is equivalent to dying together. Or surrender to yourself. In the previous life, the Ghost King suddenly betrayed during the second blood moon, and the order of the entire city collapsed at that moment. Chen Qing would not sit back and watch it happen again. So, he wanted to gamble. Bet that this Ghost King would submit to him. Now there was only Chen Qing, the only living thing in the black prison, so it could be released at any time. Chen Qing moved his mind and released the black prison. Moved. Jin Bu, Huan. Jin Bu, Huan's voice came out very abruptly. Jin Bu, Huan, Jin Bu, Huan, Jin Bu, Hector in Chen Qing's hand shook violently, and the data jumped wildly. Instant, the data rushed to Wandering Soul C level. Wandering Soul B level. Wandering Soul A level. Evil Ghost E level. Evil Ghost D level. Jin Buhuan, Jin Buhuan, Jin Buhuan. His figure disappeared. And the teapot had turned into a golden pot. Something. Why did you pick a teapot? How much can it sell for such a small thing? Jin Buhu favors to many people. But in this life, he really couldn't guess who he had done favors to. He took the kunwu knife and went downstairs. He could finally go and collect ghosts. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, and there were many rentals. Chen Qing took a taxi and arrived at the northern outskirts of the city. Summer. Chen Qing took a deep breath. With the knife in hand, he slowly moved forward. 10 minutes, half an hour. Soon Chen Qing frowned. There are too few ghosts. Unlike the ghosts that were everywhere after the blood moon, the density and intensity of ghosts now are too low. I didn't encounter any after walking for half a day. I looked at the ghost watch, that is, the ghost energy level detector. The concentration around is a little different. Chen Qing simply stopped walking on the main road, used the ghost watch as a compass, and slowly walked towards the place with high concentration of yin energy. Jumped over the ditch, crossed the wild grass, bypassed the fish pond. In the distance, I saw a small house. The necklace shook slightly. Here it comes. The hand holding the knife tightened a little. Chen Qing looked at the small house. This small house is very small, only 4 meters long and wide, with a flat roof. It may be used to store farm tools such as hand tractors. Rusty hoes and shovels are hung on the wall, and the rust has dyed the wall iron red. Chen Qing slowly turned to the front. He saw a figure. He was squatting in the house, cutting a slipper with a sickle. The ghost watch shook slightly. A number appeared, 6. Wandering Soul F level. The lowest level. Ghost. Almost no harm to humans. F level wandering souls usually act on instinct, confused and ignorant. This kind of ghost is useless to the Ghost Master, but it is just right for Chen Qing. The strength of the Ghost King is directly related to the 12 ghosts suppressed. The weaker the 12 ghosts, the weaker the Ghost King, and the greater the chance of contracting. Wait for the Ghost King to contract, and then change these weak ghosts again. Chen Qing didn't know how to collect the ghosts into the tower, so he could only try. Collect. Dang dang. There was a sound of metal collision, and a pile of hoes and shovels were collected into the demon-suppressing tower. But this ghost didn't move. The ghost noticed the movement and stood up. Pale skin, thin body. The striped shirt red, Zimming Mental Hospital. Red underwear, yes, no outer pants. 2 socks on 1 foot, no socks on 1 foot. Only 1 slipper was worn, and the other slipper had been killed by it. One of the 2 eyes was standing guard, and the other was on sentry duty, looking at different places. Quote. This is a crazy ghost. Chen Qing was stunned. Without hesitation, he tried again, collect. It still didn't work. The crazy ghost tilted his head, one eye looked at Chen Qing, and the other observed the ground. After thinking about it, Chen Qing threw out the demon suppression tower with an idea. Big. The demon suppression tower, which was half the size of a cigarette, suddenly became 5 meters high. With a bang, the small house and the ghost were crushed to pieces. Dust flew everywhere. Chen Qing stepped aside and smiled. He could feel that the crazy ghost was taken into the demon suppression tower. Come out. The crazy ghost appeared in front of Chen Qing. It was no different from before. One eye looked up at the sky, and the other eye looked at Chen Qing. Kneel down. The crazy ghost knelt down. Jump. The mad ghost jumped. Run. The mad ghost started to run. He tested his strength again, and it was very weak. His body size was about the same as that of an ordinary person, but his strength was probably only equal to that of Chen Man. Take care of the first one. At that moment, Chen Qing looked at the ghost watch again and walked towards the area with a higher concentration of yin energy. About 10 minutes. The necklace shook slightly. Who? Suck, 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 suck. Like the sound of a pig eating. Chen Qing clenched the knife and slowly approached the stinky ditch. This was a stinky ditch that had been settled for several years. There was something stirring inside, and the stench was coming up, making my eyes hurt. Chen Qing finally saw the ghost. It has a body similar to a dog's, a human head and a dog's body, and it is festering all over. It is digging out the black mud at the bottom of the stinking ditch and stuffing it into its mouth with a smacking sound. F-level wandering soul, toilet ghost, also called shit-eating ghost. The water was too deep, and the water was too deep. Chen Qing did not smash the demon suppression tower. If he threw it down, and came back with a tower of sludge, wouldn't he be disgusted to death? The ghost watch showed that this was also an F-level wandering soul, which meant that there was almost no danger. This stinking ditch was only about 1 meter deep, and it was completely within reach by standing on it. Chen Qing walked lightly and came to the top of the toilet ghost. He chopped it down with a knife. The blood pattern on the blade suddenly lit up. Puff! The head fell off with the knife. The dog's body suddenly stiffened, but its feet and buttocks were still stuck in the sludge, and it was still sitting. But the head and the dog's body suddenly turned into a burst of black air and quickly merged into the demon suppression tower. Chen Qing seemed to understand something. With a thought, the toilet ghost and the mad ghost appeared in front of him. The body of the toilet ghost was intact. After a moment of thinking, could it be that all the ghosts I killed were sucked into the demon suppression tower? In other words, the mad ghost was not actually received, but was killed by the demon suppression tower and was sucked into the tower after death. Looking at the mad ghost, Chen Qing frowned slightly. Because this was the first time he saw the mad ghost, even the name was randomly given by Chen Qing. So there was no mention of the mad ghost's promotion sequence. Chen Qing knew the evolution sequence of the toilet ghost. The wandering soul level was called the toilet ghost, shit-eating ghost, and the evil ghost level was called the filth-eating ghost. The evil spirit level was not clear. Legend has it that there are exactly 100 kinds of ghosts in the world. Each kind of ghost has its own promotion sequence of the Demon King. Once evolved, the form and ability will be greatly improved. And promotion requires spiritual guidance. The spiritual guide may be a mixture of some spiritual medicines, ghosts, and ancient objects, or it may be a condition such as killing 100 people. Chen Qing knows the complete promotion sequence of child ghosts and drowned ghosts to evil spirits. The complete evolution sequence includes the spiritual guide. In other words, Chen Qing has complete knowledge of the evolution of child ghosts and drowned ghosts to evil spirits. Child ghost right pointing arrow night cry right pointing arrow fat baby. Drowned ghost right pointing arrow water monkey right pointing arrow kappa. As long as the conditions are sufficient, Chen Qing can upgrade them to the evil spirit level. At the same time, Chen Qing also knows the incomplete route for the evolution of the wronged ghost to the evil spirit. Wronged ghost right pointing arrow sleepless man right pointing arrow de Hongpao. But this only knows the name, not the spiritual guide. The wronged ghost is an extremely powerful ghost species, especially the de Hongpao of the evil spirit level, which is a weird existence that makes people shudder. If he knew the promotion spiritual guide, Chen Qing would definitely find an opportunity to get one. And the crazy ghost, Chen Qing has never heard of it. Even the name was invented by Chen Qing, which was quite appropriate considering its outrageous appearance. Then what would its evil ghost level or evil spirit level be called? Mad dog. Careless. As he walked and thought, the necklace suddenly shook slightly again. Chen Qing clenched the knife again, but he didn't find it after looking around. He looked around again, but still couldn't find it. Suddenly he remembered something and looked up at the tree. He saw a figure, sitting, at the top of the tree. The lower body was in the shape of smoke, and the upper body was in the shape of a skinny woman, so thin that the ribs were visible, and the breasts were shriveled, like two water bags that were only half filled with water. At this moment, its two nostrils were open wider than its mouth, and it was breathing in air in big gulps. Air-eating ghost. Look at the ghost watch, F-level wandering soul. The tree was 7 or 8 meters high, and Chen Qing didn't want to take the risk of climbing it. At that moment, he threw the demon suppression tower up violently. Big buzz. The demon suppression tower grew bigger, pushing away a circle of air, taller than the tree, and smashed down fiercely. Crack, crack, crack. There was a series of fine explosions, and branches flew everywhere. The demon suppression tower fell heavily to the ground, and the soil splashed everywhere, pressing out a deep pit. If there were no pile of broken branches and leaves at the bottom of the tower, it would really look like it had grown here. Feeling something, the air-eating ghost also appeared in the tower. And Chen Qing looked at the demon suppression tower, wanting to see how high it could be. Big. The demon suppression tower grew bigger again, about 20 meters high, and pushed away the soil on the ground violently, like a thunder exploded in the soil. It was 6 stories high. Chen Qing looked up and was shocked. Big. The demon suppression tower grew bigger again. Chen Qing couldn't estimate it, but he thought it was about 10 stories high. Big. It's even bigger. At this time, the demon suppressing tower is much taller than the ghost-free tower. And the door on the tower is also 2 meters high. After zooming into this extent, Chen Qing can see clearly that the iron cast tower has rich details, and the doors, windows and pillars all have clear patterns. With a thought in his mind, he pushed open the tower door. Extremely smoothly, without a sound, the tower door opened. There were gusts of gray fog inside, and Chen Qing did not step in. It was not because he was afraid of danger, but because he was afraid of the 15,000 times time velocity difference. With such a terrible velocity difference, even if he entered and immediately exited, several months might have passed outside. This place is not too far from the city, and for fear of attracting powerful beings, the demon suppression tower was put away. Continue to follow the ghost watch, and soon the necklace vibrates again. Hold the kunwu knife tightly and approach slowly. On the edge of the stream, the grass moves slowly. Look at the ghost watch, but there is no reaction yet. The detection distance and detection speed of this thing are much weaker than the demon suppression tower. Chen Qing approached little by little and finally saw the ghost. In the darkness, it almost merged with the water surface, roughly in human shape, but the forepalms were relatively large, with webbed fingers and scales on the back. It feels like it is already developing in the direction of otters and water lizards. Drowned ghost. Chen Qing has the complete evolution sequence of the drowned ghost. But Chen Qing frowned. This drowned ghost has a complete appearance. I'm afraid it's not low in level. The ghost watch shook. Sure enough, the value jumped quickly and then stopped. 32. D level wandering soul. The conventional value has 6 levels from E to A. The wandering soul has an additional F level, which is the initial stage. When wandering soul, 1 to 10k is F level, 11 to 20k is E level. Now go up, every 20k increase 1 level. 21 to 40k, D level. 41 to 60k, C level. 61 to 80k, B level. 81 to 100k, A level. The cap is a level. And the three levels of SSS beyond a level are called transcendence level, and cannot be measured by conventional standards. Also known as numerical monsters. At this level, they all have the strength to fight across levels. An S-level wandering soul, whose strength far exceeds that of low-level evil ghosts. The information says 4 words, extremely dangerous. This drowning ghost is extremely suitable for Chen Qing, especially since Chen Qing knows its complete sequence. But precisely because of its high level, Chen Qing cannot choose it. The attributes of the Ghost King are positively correlated with the 12 ghosts. As weak as possible, at that moment, Chen Qing relaxed his hands and feet and retreated little by little. After a while, Chen Qing met the 5th ghost. Toilet ghost, E level. But this ghost was soaking in a dry toilet, covered in shit and eating happily. Chen Qing struggled again and again but failed to do it. Slipped away. Before dawn, Chen Qing met the 6th ghost. Breath-eating ghost, F level wandering soul. Collect it. This harvest is quite big, a crazy ghost, a toilet ghost, and 2 breath-eating ghosts. Soon, the sky slowly brightened. The ghosts disappeared completely. Now that the blood moon has not arrived, the ghosts that can be encountered are the most common ghosts. Low level and low strength. When the blood moon arrives, all kinds of weird and over-strength ghosts are everywhere. High-strength ones are like Asura, Rakshasa, and the staff-wielding ones. Weird ones are like Painted Skin, Dahongpao, Fat Baby, and Coroner, etc. Even just thinking about it is creepy. Just thinking about it, He Chang called. Chen Qing, the training has begun. Understood. Compared with other newcomers, Chen Qing has more freedom. But the premise is that Chen Qing completes the training. Today is the first day of the training, so of course he has to be there. On the way back, there was a busy scene outside the car window. One by one, the decoration teams drove into each community and were working hard to build. After thinking about it, he opened the community WeChat group. I'm so annoyed. What's the point of community defense? There has never been a ghost in the city. Who are you defending against? Yeah, the car can only be parked outside, so who will pay the parking fee? Looking up, there are supporters and complaints. Chen Qing's brows gradually frowned. Community defense. I didn't do this thing in my previous life. Could it be that the Tang dynasty officials foresaw the coming of the blood moon? Such an idea is incredible, but if I can be reborn, others may not be unable to do so. Well, senior brother, are you from the Ghost Control Army? While thinking, the taxi driver kept glancing at Chen Qing in the rearview mirror. Chen Qing was wearing the dark blue uniform of the Ghost Control Army at the moment. Yes, Chen Qing nodded. Ah, what an honor. The Ghost Control Army, you were really great. Didn't we test the talent the day before yesterday? My son didn't make the cut, and I can't even eat now. I dream of joining the Ghost Control Army, but unfortunately I just don't have the talent. What's your talent test score? The driver was a chatterbox, mumbling. Soon they arrived at the Ghost Control Army Brigade. Chen Qing was about to pay, but the driver waved his hands again and again. No, 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 how can you charge the Ghost Control Army for the taxi? I will never do that in my life. Chen Qing nodded and let him do it. There are already many newcomers here, all wearing the Ghost Control Army uniforms, chatting in groups of 3 or 2. Monkey was already here. Seeing Chen Qing coming, he came over immediately. Chen Qing, do you know some inside information? What? When you mentioned preparing food, I urged my parents to buy a lot of things, such as rice, flour, oil, instant noodles, canned food, etc., filling up the entire utility room. But they disagreed with the safe house. After all, it cost too much. But the community defense transformation started yesterday. So my dad asked me to ask you, is it really going to happen? Monkey is a brother, and he should have died because of me in his previous life. I must repay him. Yes, Chen Qing said solemnly. Money is useless if you don't use it. If you really don't have it, I can lend it to you. He also reminded. Don't tell others that you have a lot of things stored at home. Monkey was slightly stunned, and figured out something. Don't tell, then you are afraid that others will snatch it. The situation will be so serious that they will snatch food. Thinking of this, Monkey nodded solemnly. I understand. Chen Qing. Suddenly a female voice came. Chen Qing turned around. It was Hong Ya, wearing the uniform of the anti-ghost army. Hong Ya looked at Chen Qing coldly. I was going to go to the martial arts school, but now I have changed my mind. Where you are, I will be there. Everything you give, I want to return tenfold, 100-fold. Don't think that your A-level talent is so great. Although I am only C-level, I can also shoulder this sky. I will step on you and crush everything you have. Quote. Chen Qing was speechless. This strong middle school spirit, how many books did this woman eat? Waved her hand. Oh. Looking at Monkey, whispered, the type of safe house is best to take into account both ghost protection and human protection. Monkey nodded and whispered, where are the weapons? It's better to have a little bit of both. And Hong Ya choked slightly. The atmosphere was set off here. She thought there would be some confrontation, but Chen Qing just said, oh. She didn't know what to say all of a sudden. She should have reached the climax in one go, but now it was neither up nor down. It was so annoying. At the moment, she just snorted heavily and turned away. Monkey looked at her back and cursed. How did these guys get together? Chen Qing turned her head to look. She saw Hong Ya, Chen Kun and a handsome boy standing together, looking at Chen Qing while talking. Did you see the man with Chen Kun? Monkey said solemnly. You must be careful. I haven't seen him. Chen Qing was sure. His name is Ji Luo. He should be the strongest in our class. His talent test reached SS level, and I heard that he has reached the soul moving state. Is soul moving difficult? Chen Qing was a little surprised. Besides him, there is another woman who is said to have a fate ghost. This time, Chen Qing was really surprised. Fate ghost. Ghosts and humans are mortal enemies, but fate. Ghosts are born to be extremely close to someone, almost to the point of being one with each other. Fate ghosts do not occupy the Ghost Master's ghost pet space and will never betray at any time. The most terrifying thing is that they can share part of their abilities with their masters. It is the most rare ghost pet, and its importance far exceeds that of S-level ghost pets. It turned out to be a fate ghost. I just don't know what this fate ghost is. If it is a powerful ghost species, it will be even more terrifying. Silence. Suddenly a loud voice rang through the whole venue. He Chang stared coldly at the whole venue. This guy is quite intimidating when he doesn't talk much. Everyone on the field instantly quieted down. There are 118 people joining the team this time, and there are 9 talents of a level and above, and there are even newcomers with fate ghosts. The quantity and quality are the best in history. Although it is impossible, I still hope that you can all get your own Kunwu sword. Kunwu sword, isn't it issued with the military uniform? Chen Qing was slightly stunned, and immediately understood. He had obtained the recommended qualification. The anti-ghost army carries a heavy responsibility. In the front, we must support the backs of the brothers of the Ghost Slayer team. In the back, we must protect tens of thousands of people. In the next 20 days, you will spend time in high-intensity training. If you pass the test, you can get the Kunwu sword. If you fail, you will go back to where you came from. Han Yuan beat his chest and saluted, and left. He Chang stepped out. Now, listen to my command. Everyone, run 10 laps, the time limit is 20 minutes. Report, speak, it's not fair. Hong Ya stood straight. Men and women have different physiological structures. The amount of training should not be the same. Ghosts will not be more gentle to you just because you are a woman. In the Ghost Guard, there are no men or women, only qualified soldiers. He Chang looked at her coldly. The door is always open, you can leave at any time. Hong Ya gritted her teeth and really wanted to shake her hand and leave, but she was unwilling. Run. Chen Qing didn't dare to say anything, and started running. Physical strength is the foundation of everything. It was just the first lap, and the gap came out. Because of the natural physiological gap, most of the girls fell behind. Chen Qing didn't run fast or slow, and naturally was among the 10 people at the front of the team. But to Chen Qing's surprise, the fastest runner was not Ji Luo, but a girl. The movement was slow as he ran, as if he had been saving some energy. Ji Luo tried his best to catch up, but he was still a long way from the girl. You should know that Ji Luo's physical fitness was completely comparable to that of a veteran with several years of military service. He was embarrassed and ran for his life. In this way, the two of them immediately pulled away from the others. And He Chang stood with his hands behind his first girl who fell appeared. She suddenly knelt on the ground and vomited. Yuan Shanshan, out! He Chang said loudly, making a mark on the form in his hand. Soon, 2 soldiers came over, helped her up, and helped her out of the door. This scene made many people tremble with fear. Playing for real. There is not even a chance for a second time. Everyone was in awe, but physical fitness was little affected by subjective thoughts. Especially, this is 10 laps. There are not many normal people who can run this far in one breath. If you can't run, you can't run. The second person to be eliminated, the third, and the fourth appeared one. Ji Luo arrived about half a lap behind her. Then Chen Qing and others arrived one after another. At this time, the running posture of those who were exhausted was extremely difficult. People kept falling down. Soon, the large group arrived. Such as Monkey and others were among them. As soon as they crossed the line, they all collapsed to the ground. After a while, He Chang began to count down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. All those who were close to the finish line tried their best. Several people crossed the line one after another. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. At the last moment, a little fat man jumped up without hesitation and fell heavily to the ground. His head also hit the ground heavily, with a face full of blood. The ones behind are out. No, this is not fair. We are just ordinary students. This is the first time running. Out, He Chang said coldly again. All the people behind him looked desperate. I don't accept it. I don't accept it either. This is not fair. Let's go complain. You don't have the final say over the Ghost Control Army. He Chang did not waver at all, and called many Ghost Control Army soldiers to drive everyone out of the camp one after another. See, girls are no worse than boys. Hong Ya's voice was full of excitement. The first place is a girl, this is the proof. Is this fool sick? Monkey frowned. He naturally knew how Hong Ya's family treated Chen Qing, and they disliked her very much. He Chang spoke again. You have 10 minutes to rest, and then go to the underground martial arts field. Just this item, 28 people were eliminated, and now there are 90 people left. How brutal, Monkey panted. I've never heard that the Ghost Guard was so perverted before. This is as intense as the training of the Ghost Slayer. The fat man with a bruised face also said, somewhat desperate. You can't stand it, He Chang sneered. Listen carefully. In the next 20 days, you have to add 1 lap every day, and the time limit is still 20 minutes. How is this possible? Someone exclaimed in shock. Then you have to run 30 laps in 20 minutes on the last day. How is this possible? This is almost a 100-meter record. Every lap is run according to the record of a 100-meter sprint. Chen Qing was also a little surprised. Is this possible? Rest time is up. He Chang picked up the stopwatch again, reached the underground martial arts field within 2 minutes. Everyone was shocked, and hurriedly struggled to get up, running to the underground martial arts field regardless of everything. This time, another 3 people were eliminated. There are 87 people left. The underground martial arts arena was very large, even larger than a standard basketball court. It was very dark, with only a few faint green lights on. A cold air came over, and everyone's hair stood up. But Chen Qing frowned slightly. It was not cold air, but yin qi. Wukong stood in the dark, and could faintly see the reflection of his lenses. When everyone was gathered, Wukong said loudly, has anyone seen a ghost? A few people in the crowd raised their hands. Chen Qing saw that someone raised his hand, so he raised his hand too. Ghost guards, if you haven't even seen a ghost, that's a real joke. Look carefully. A breeze blew, and a heart-pounding breath came. At this moment, everyone froze. Suddenly someone screamed. Ghost, 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 in the air of the martial arts arena. There was a huge figure, the body was a bit like a toad, the mouth was a bit like a catfish. Its lower body was in the shape of mist, and it was breathing in air in big gulps. The ghost watch on Chen Qing's hand trembled slightly, and the value stopped at 164. E-level evil ghost. This is called Tunfang, Wukong said slowly, the form of a wandering soul-level air-eating ghost after it is promoted to an evil ghost. Feel what an evil ghost is. As he said that, Tunfang's head slowly turned around. An indescribable pressure instantly filled the whole place. Ah! A shrill scream came out. A person fell straight down. And Tunfang suddenly opened his mouth and sucked it in. It was as if the soul was sucked away. Chen Qing suddenly circulated the Zhodian, and then stabilized his soul. Bang! 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 The sound of falling to the ground continued to be heard, and one person after another fell to the ground. Hiss! A baboon suddenly appeared. Protecting in front of the first girl, he raised his head and roared at Tunfang. The girl said something to it, and the baboon disappeared again. Wukong raised his hand, and Tunfang finally stopped. Only 4 people were left standing among the many newcomers. The girl ranked first, Ji Luo, Chen Qing, and Chen Kun. The first 3 were able to stand steadily, but Chen Kun was a little shaky. Wukong nodded to the 4 people to show his affirmation. When everyone woke up one by one, Wukong said calmly. Tunfang did not use his full strength. If he used his full strength, at such a close distance, all of you would die. Wukong's eyes slowly scanned the crowd. I will not eliminate anyone, but you are adults, you must think clearly. Among the things you will have to deal with in the future, there will be ghosts like Tunfang. Even more terrifying. Please make your choice. Everyone was silent. Yes, I'm sorry. A girl still had a look of fear on her face. I quit. I quit too. I didn't expect the Ghost Control Army to be so dangerous. People kept raising their hands and walked out of the martial arts arena silently. After a while, the crowd calmed down. There are 72 people left. The class is now officially starting. First, you need to determine your major. A Ghost Master mainly strengthens the strength of his soul. The stronger the soul, the more and more powerful ghost pets he can control. A Berserker mainly cultivates chi and blood. He can be regarded as a front row, a tank, an assassin, and a human artillery shell. Spiritual cultivation mainly cultivates aura. He can be regarded as a cultivator or a mage in a novel. There is no teacher in our squadron. If you want to become a spiritual cultivator, you can only apply to transfer to the ghost killing team. I give you a suggestion. Those with high test talent should choose a Ghost Master. Once again, most people stayed here. Only 6 people chose the Berserker, and they were led away by a muscular man. The class is now officially starting. The first lesson is the basic concept of a Ghost Master. Wukong pointed at the ghost watch in his hand and aimed it at Tunfang. The value jumped quickly and stopped at 165. This 165, the unit is K, called the Ghost Energy Value. Basically, it can be regarded as combat power. Wukong said as he pointed the ghost watch at himself. The value jumped and stopped at 318. This is my soul power value, 318k. Remember, the master's soul power value must higher than the ghost energy value of the ghost pet. Once the soul power value is lower than the ghost energy value of the ghost pet will betray. Don't think how stable your contract with the ghost pet is. This is determined by the ghost contract technique, not by human will. Taking into account the impact of soul power value battle injuries and other effects, about 50% should be reserved. At least 70% should be reserved. For example, if your soul power value is 100, then it is best to contract a ghost pet with a ghost energy value of 50k. The maximum cannot exceed 70. Chen Qing listened, and his heart moved slightly. The Black Prison Ghost Contract Technique doesn't seem to have this restriction. I have to find a chance to ask the captain. Soul power strength can bring many benefits. First, you can contract a stronger ghost pet. Second, the greater the soul power gap, the higher the success rate of the contract. When the soul power and ghost power gap is more than 10 times, almost any ghost pet can be forcibly contracted. Third, you can contract more ghost pets. Soul Movement Realm, you can contract 2 ghost pets. Spirit Realm, you can contract 3 ghost pets. Yuquan Realm, you can contract 4 ghost pets. Chen Qing suddenly thought of the Demon Suppression Tower. I can contract 12 ghost pets through the Demon Suppression Tower, this. Invincible. Finally, let's talk about the levels of ghosts. Whether it's a wandering soul, a demon, or an evil spirit, there are 5 levels: E, D, C, B, and A. Only wandering souls have level F, which is also called the nascent stage. Quote, E level is called the vulnerable period. If a wandering soul is injured, its soul will be scattered, and if an evil ghost is injured, it will fall into the wandering soul realm. Quote, 110 is F level, 11 to 20 is E level, 21 to 40 is D level, 41 to 60 is C level, 61 to 80 is B level, 81 to 100 is A level. Quote, starting from E level, every 20k increase, you will be promoted to a higher level. Evil ghost level, 100 to 200 is E, and then every time you increase 200k, you will increase 1 level. 201 to 400 is D, 401 to 600 is C, 601 to 800 is B, 801, 1000 is A. Quote, the following evil spirit levels are also analogous. 1000k is E level evil spirit, and when it reaches 10,000, it is A level evil spirits. Someone asked, teacher, didn't you say there are S level, double S level, and triple S level? Yes, these 3 levels are collectively called transcendent level, which is an existence beyond common sense. S level wandering spirits can easily defeat low level evil spirits. It is extremely dangerous, don't try to contract. If you want to contract an S level ghost pet, your soul power must be at least 10 times that of the S level ghost pet. Everyone remembered this firmly. Now, we will start the Soul Movement course. Students who have reached the Soul Movement realm can leave. Once you reach the Soul Movement realm, you can receive your own Kunwu sword. At the same time, you can apply to participate in tonight's mission. Quote, mission. Chen Qing was stunned. A small ghost wave broke out in the ghostless temple. No one in the temple survived. The captain will lead the team to clean it up tonight. Captain. Chen Qing suddenly understood. In his previous life, Han Yuan probably got the demon suppression tower during this mission. I am still short of 8 ghosts, there are too few ghosts in the wild. I dare not provoke places like the Princess Tomb. Following the captain to get a bargain is the best choice. Luo Zhe, you don't have to waste your time here, it's time. You have already reached the Soul Movement realm, far ahead of us. Chen Kun flattered him. Ji Luo nodded. Well, I'll go first. Then he stood up and left. Rank the girl also stood up and left. Chen Qing said to Monkey, I'll leave first. After that, he also stood up and left. The first 2 did not seem to surprise everyone, but when Chen Qing stood up, everyone was surprised. Especially Hong Ya, Chen Kun, and Monkey, all 3 looked at Chen Qing in disbelief. After the 3 of them left, Hong Ya was stunned and said, Old teacher, has Chen Qing also reached the Soul Movement realm? Yes. Wukong nodded. Originally I wanted to add that Chen Qing spent an afternoon. No, to be precise, it took a few minutes, and it reached the Soul Movement in a few minutes. But he still didn't say anything. This time, 3 SS level monsters came at the same time, which was enough to discourage people. If they were discouraged again, I'm afraid they would have no motivation to study. He was originally optimistic about Chen Qing. If Zhou Yangchao was not there. In Han Yuan's office, Zhou Yangchao, Ji Luo, and Chen Qing arrived one after another. Are you 3 going to sign up? Okay, meet at the playground at 6 p.m. Quote. The 3 of them walked out of the office, and Han Yuan smiled immediately. Did you see that? This is the charm of personality. In the past, I was thankful for getting an A, but this year I got 3 double S's. He Chang rolled his eyes. Yes, yes, yes. The next moment, He Chang was kicked out. Too lazy to go back and forth, Chen Qing called the hotel and asked them to take good care of Chen Man. He stayed in the base and practiced hard. Other things were fine, but running 30 laps in 20 minutes on the last day was very difficult. He calculated the time in the playground and ran at full speed. In 20 minutes, he had run 19 laps. They can't set an impossible task. Is there any trick? For example, can soul power strengthen the body? Chen Qing meditated in the dormitory all afternoon while thinking about this problem. At nearly 6 o'clock, Monkey's voice came. I'm so tired, how can I make my soul move? For the whole afternoon, the glass of water didn't move at all. Quote. Some of them moved slightly, we still have to work hard. We will continue to do it in the evening, but I just want to sleep now. Two voices talked, coming from far away. A monkey, a little fat man, a very cold boy. The cold-blooded boy checked the dormitory number and lay directly on the bed. Monkey pointed at the little fat boy. Chen Qing, I applied to share a dormitory with you. This little fat boy and I get along well, and he also applied to move to our place. By the way, his name is Hirunsheng. Hello, master. Hirunsheng immediately stretched out his hands to shake hands. Hello. Chen Qing looked at him. Your family is super rich, right? The little fat boy was stunned and shook his head. No. Brother, what's your name? Monkey looked at the cold-blooded boy lying on the bed. Guxing. Gu. Who has this last name? Monkey didn't bother to argue, and instead sighed and complained to the little fat boy. Master, can you tell me how you reached the state of soul movement? That bowl of water won't move no matter how hard I try. Chen Qing thought for a while. I just did what Teacher Wu said, and it moved after I exerted some power. He really didn't have much experience to teach. Ah. Hirunsheng was stunned and sighed. The master is really a master. By the way, Chen Qing, how many times did you try? Monkey asked. Chen Qing did not hide it. Once. Really? No way, master. Once. Just once. Yeah. Monkey was stunned for a long time, and suddenly laughed. Chen Kun's glass of water did move, but he spent the whole afternoon. He got together with Hong Ya today and said he would make you look bad. With this gap, I want to see how they will make you look bad. What's wrong? Do you have a grudge? When Monkey told how Hong Ya's family treated Chen Qing, Fatty frowned. This is really a piece of shit. Chen Qing saw that the time was almost up, so he got up and walked towards the playground. Be careful, master, go slowly. 5 armored military vehicles ready waiting on the playground. After waiting for a while, everyone was there. Including Chen Qing and the other. Yuan said, let's follow the old tactics. He Chang made 3 seats for the newcomers in the car, and He Chang will explain the tactics to them in the car. Let's go. Everyone quickly got into the car and soon drove away from the base with a rumble. The 3 of them sat in the back row, Zhou Yangchao on the left, Chen Qing in the middle, and Ji Luo on the right. It's pretty good, Chen Qing thought to himself. He Chang began to talk about tactics. Have you heard of the 3-3 tactic? To deal with ghosts, the 3-3 tactic is generally used. 3 people form a team, distributed in a triangle, 3 teams form a combat squad, which is still a triangle, and 3 combat squads form a combat group, which is also a triangle. A combat group has 27 people. Without you 3, we have exactly 27 people. You'd better see how we fight today. If there are any small fish that slip through the net, you can practice your hands appropriately. The car stopped quickly, about 1 kilometer away from the ghostless temple. If we get too close, some of them won't dare to come out. Wait until they all show up before we go. Chen Qing thought of something and asked, Brother Chang, where do ghosts hide during the day? No one knows. He Chang smiled and said, this is the world's first unsolved mystery. So we have to wait until they show up. No one knows. Chen Qing was thoughtful. The evil ghosts have shown up. The intercom suddenly rang, and Han Yuan's heroic voice came out. Brothers, follow me. The 5 armored military vehicles rushed up the mountain and arrived in front of the Wugui temple in just a moment. Everyone was very familiar with the formation, and they immediately divided into several teams of 3 people after getting off the car. Most of them held kunwu swords, and those holding kunlun crossbows were at the back. There was another one holding a sniper rifle, looking for a position. Han Yuan was in the middle and suddenly pulled out the kunwu sword. A red light flashed, and the kunwu sword burst into a raging flame, covering half of Han Yuan's body. Charge! With an order, everyone rushed into the Wugui temple, some went through the door, and some climbed over the wall to enter, all at a very fast speed. Chen Qing held the kunwu sword tightly and rushed over. At this time, a figure appeared in front of everyone. He was extremely thin, with a pale face and many festering sores on his body. He walked slowly and coughed violently. He sounded as if he would die in the next moment. A ghost-controlling soldier rushed forward in a few steps, and the light on the kunwu knife in his hand flashed. Swish! The knife flashed, and the ghost was cut in half from the waist. Cough! Cough! The upper body of the ghost coughed violently while struggling to crawl forward. The soldier stepped forward and cut off the head. Bang! With a loud bang, Han Yuan jumped from nowhere. The kunwu knife burning with blazing flames inserted into the ghost's body. The fire burned the ghost's body in a moment. Han Yuan frowned. This is a sick ghost. You quit this mission and go back for disinfection and inspection. The soldier was stunned, nodded immediately, and quickly ran out of the ghostless temple. A little further ahead, the three warriors in the lead were entangled with a female ghost holding a child. The female ghost kept mumbling something. Her legs were spread apart, and a large mass of something like intestines and meat was dragging from her lower body. Blood was gushing out, and there was a huge wound on her stomach, and a child inside was sucking his thumb and looking out calmly. The female ghost was dragging so many bloody things from her lower body, but she was very fast, and every step was like an arrow shot out. The three people had surrounded the female ghost. As long as she attacked someone, the kunwu knives of the other two would quickly cut out. Whoosh! The female ghost moved again. The sharp claws grabbed the warrior's face. The warrior was shocked. He suddenly fell backwards with an iron bridge. Two knives were chopped out from the side, one to the neck and one to the abdomen. Ding! Ding! With two crisp sounds, both knives were caught. One knife was grabbed by the ghost. One knife was grabbed by the fetus in the ghost's belly. The baby in the ghost's hand suddenly jumped towards the warrior on the ground. And her claws swept across the two warriors. Bang! A silver bullet suddenly exploded in front of the ghost's chest. The ghost's body flew out rapidly as if hit by a heavy truck. The two warriors seized the opportunity, one on the left and one on the right, and cut the ghost into three halves with two knives. The baby in the ghost's belly fell out, screaming miserably, but still struggling to come to the ghost, hugging her tightly and crying loudly. Then, the body slowly melted. Is this the legendary ghost giving birth? The warrior was still frightened. This is just the wandering soul level. Outrageous. If it advances to the evil ghost level, I'm afraid several people will be killed. The soldier on the ground has stood up and touched the wound on his neck. Isn't this thing poisonous? I've never heard of it. Chen Qing saw everything, his heart pounding. He saw this scene again. He spit to the side, and heard a voice coming from the side. You have good courage. Ah, Chen Qing was stunned. This is the first time I've seen such a scene. My mouth is not dry and there is saliva. Not bad. At this moment, the two of them were standing on a bell platform, and they could see everything around them. Han Yuan did not participate in the battle again, but just watched the battle around him. The average strength of the anti-ghost army seems to be somewhat different from that of the ghosts, but everyone cooperates very well. Although there are injuries, they are not serious. The number of ghosts is decreasing sharply. Chen Qing suddenly asked, Captain, the Black Prison Ghost contract technique should not follow the rule of only half of the contracted ghost, right? If the ghost's energy value is about the same as mine, or a bit higher than mine, can I contract it? Han Yuan frowned and said, it is not worthwhile to contract a ghost with only half of your own ghost energy value. Everyone knows this. But have you ever thought about why this rule became an iron rule in the end? Chen Qing was silent. Do you know that the previous few masters who practiced the Black Prison Ghost contract technique? What happened to the people? They are all amazingly talented. Their talents are far beyond your imagination. And without exception, they are all dead. It is very likely that you are the only one who knows this technique. The ferocity of ghosts is far beyond your imagination. When you put yourself in a ghost prison, you are actually forcing ghosts in the temple is decreasing sharply. Bang! Suddenly, a knocking sound was heard. It was like knocking on a bamboo tube. Everyone's movements were stagnant. The picture in front of Chen Qing turned black and white. The consciousness was in chaos. Bang! The knocking sound rang again. A strange voice was stretched out very long. The weather is dry, be careful of fire. With this sound, flames suddenly rose from all the frozen bodies. Han Yuan also froze. The flames on his body quickly burned his body. Puffs of black smoke came out. Flames rose from Chen Qing's body, but the demon suppression tower shook slightly, and they disappeared in an instant. The black and white picture in front of him shattered instantly and returned to the normal world. Chen Qing could move, but he didn't know what to do. He didn't even know where the enemy was. He shook violently towards Han Yuan beside him. Captain, wake up, quote. Gritting his teeth, the Kunwu sword stabbed at Han Yuan's arm. Han Yuan suddenly came to his senses, and the Kunwu sword in his hand burst into flames, and his body shot out like a cannonball. Bang! Another sound. Han Yuan, who was still in the air, froze, and fell heavily to the ground without losing his momentum. The strange voice stretched out again. Close the doors and windows to prevent theft. In Chen Qing's eyes, a wooden lattice window quickly closed, and his body seemed to be locked by something, unable to move. The demon suppression tower shook slightly again. The window in front of him shattered. Chen Qing rushed towards Han Yuan regardless of everything, and stabbed him again out. In this situation, only he can save the situation. Kunwu's sword has the effect of breaking evil. Han Yuan wakes up instantly, and his body shoots out like a cannonball. The ghost seemed to be thinking about something, but Han Yuan's body approached instantly. One knife. Safe and sound. The voice stopped abruptly. Everyone regained their ability to move, quickly took off their burning clothes, and screamed in pain. Chen Qing rushed over and saw a ghost corpse nailed to the ground by Han Yuan's Kunwu sword, burning rapidly. It can be vaguely distinguished that it is dressed as an ancient farmer, with a bamboo tube hanging around his waist. B-level evil ghost, night watchman. Han Yuan frowned and took out a few portable hemostatic bandages to cover the wound. I actually encountered this thing. Quote. Chen Qing was stunned. This night watchman, isn't he one of the ones he released after taking out the demon suppression tower? Is it possible that the ghost tied in the ghostless temple was caused by himself? Take a deep breath, Chen Qing comforted himself. Anyway, when the blood moon comes, there will be a ghost tied here, and by then, I'm afraid that the number of deaths will be hundreds of times more. He Chang ran over at this time. His neck had been burned and several layers of skin had fallen off, but he nodded to Chen Qing. Chen Qing, you have done a great job this time. As he said, He Chang's face was a little solemn. Boss, it seems that there is another evil ghost. Another one. It seems to be possessed. Han Yuan's face was excited. Possessed? Attached to what? Not sure. Let's go. As Han Yuan walked, he said, Chen Qing, you can also practice your hand, be careful. Pick the weak point to attack. The more you want to be possessed, the more you will be possessed. Possession is not a verb, but a noun. This kind of ghost is quite common, and is called a crazy ghost at the wandering soul level. The kind of person who is obsessed with something after death. For example, drunkards, gamblers, misers, playboys, etc. At the evil ghost level, they usually attach themselves to something they can't let go of. For example, He Chang in the team, if he died and became an evil ghost, he might become a fishing rod. People's obsessions are so strange, and possession will also be strange. For example, a drunkard, when promoted to a possessed, may become a bottle of wine. Or maybe a pervert becomes a possessed person and turns into black stockings. If a modern person becomes a crazy ghost, it would be a lot of fun. Mobile phone, keyboard, camera, figure, basketball, overalls. Nothing is surprising. Chen Qing retracted his thoughts and slowly walked towards the back half of the ghostless temple. Babble, babble, babble. A voice came over with extremely fast speed. Chen Qing tried to distinguish and finally heard it clearly. I heard that the man was a gambler. He had an affair with the butcher's wife. He was caught by the butcher Zhang and killed. Lao Qing hasn't come back for 2 years. He was caught for selling salt. I heard that he was raped by the prison bully in prison. Listening again, it was still a long-winded mumbling. Chen Qing turned the corner and finally saw 2 female ghosts. The mouth opened and closed rapidly, the tongue was extremely long, hanging out for a foot, and saliva splashed everywhere as the mouth spoke. Long-tongued ghost. The 2 female ghosts were obviously different in their skills. One spoke very fast, and it must have been practiced for more than 2 years. If you don't listen carefully, you can't hear it clearly. The other one was a little slow in action, and the words she uttered were also unclear. Take a look at the ghost watch. One is F level, one is E level. Both are very weak, but to be safe, Chen Qing only wants the F level one. At that moment, he chopped the F level one with a knife. Beheaded. No surprise. The long-tongued ghost turned into black mist and was quickly taken into the demon suppression tower. The E-level long-tongued ghost was slightly stunned, and shook its head. The long tongue became like a sword and a whip, and quickly chopped towards Chen Qing. Chen Qing no longer entangled, and quickly ran away to find the next ghost. There were many ghosts here, and soon Chen Qing found a starving ghost in the temple cafeteria. It was eating a bag of rotten cabbage like crazy. Its body was extremely thin, but its belly was big and round. After a test, it was an F-level wandering soul. Quickly cut off its head. The starving ghost quickly turned into a black mist and was collected in the demon suppression tower. There was a rustling sound in the cafeteria. Chen Qing walked over with light steps, and was immediately happy. 3 ghosts. They were tearing up a piece of rotten pork with maggots in the kitchen area of the cafeteria. Take a look at the ghost watch, they are all F-level wandering souls. Chen Qing threw out the demon suppression tower. Big. Boom. With a heavy muffled sound, the 3 ghosts were instantly crushed to death. Quickly took back the demon suppression tower and looked for other places. The next 2 ghosts he encountered were 1E level and 1D level, and Chen Qing turned around and left. Walking to the accommodation area, the pace slowed down. Hum, 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 ah. At this time, the woman's obscene voice came out. With a move in his heart, he identified the direction. He held the kunwu knife tightly and slowly approached. Then he saw a cool scene. A big baboon was lying on a woman. No, a female ghost, and rushed around. This female ghost's eyes were stringy, her lips were stringy, and everything was stringy. This scene shocked my mother for a whole year. Chen Qing will never forget that this baboon is Zhou Yangchao's fate ghost. Looking around, she saw Zhou Yangchao standing in the corner, her face flushed. She also saw Chen Qing. Raised a finger and made a gesture to keep quiet. She came over lightly, pulled Chen Qing out. Chen Qing didn't know how to start. Zhou Yangchao's face flushed, and he said, "My fate ghost is a lust ghost, only in this way can I advance to the next level." Lust ghost. The voice coming from inside was too erotic. Zhou Yangchao's face was still flushed, and he said, "That female ghost is a lust ghost of the wandering soul level. When a lust ghost advances to the evil ghost level, it looks like a baboon or an ape. It's so hard to meet a female lust ghost, I have to seize this opportunity. The evil ghost level of a lust ghost is actually a baboon or an ape." Chen Qing was a little stunned, and subconsciously asked, "What is the evil spirit level of that lust ghost?" Quote, "I don't know." That's right. The blood moon hasn't arrived yet, and most of the ghosts we can see now are common ghosts. The reason why we can see ghosts like night watchmen here today is because they have been suppressed here since ancient times. As he was talking, it seemed that the inside reached the top of the mountain. That movement, even if 1/10 of it is described, it will be sealed in the book. It's simply amazing. Ah, come on. Chen Qing suffered from temporary aphasia. Escaped quickly. Thinking about it, he walked towards the room of the former abbot. There was a rotten corpse, but it didn't turn into a ghost. Chen Qing could vaguely recognize the appearance of the abbot, sighed, turned around and looked for other areas. At this time, Chen Qing felt a yin energy. Looking around, he didn't see any ghosts. However, his footsteps were getting heavier and heavier. There seemed to be an air conditioner blowing on his thighs, and there was an indescribable brightness. Chen Qing's heart skipped a beat. He looked down. There was nothing on his feet, but his trouser legs were shaking slightly. Chen Qing understood what it was. A ghost with hanging boots, or a tail follower. This thing is so fast that no matter how you look at it, it can hide in the blind spot of your sight. Fortunately, this thing only likes to scare people, and is considered a good ghost. There was a cool breeze blowing from behind his neck. If nothing unexpected happened, it should be hanging on the back of his neck now. Chen Qing did not look back, but used the ghost watch to shine on the back of his neck. 7. F-level wandering soul. Chen Qing understood, stood still, and threw the demon suppression tower backwards. Big. Quote, bang. The 3 or 4 meter high demon suppression tower fell heavily behind Chen Qing. Chen Qing did not see this follower, but he had sensed that a new ghost had been taken into the demon suppression tower. There were only 2 left. Soon, Chen Qing found the target. Swish. A skinny figure. It held a large pile of dice in its arms. The dice kept falling down, and he kept picking them up and dropping them again. The ghost had an anxious look on his face, but he was persistent in picking up the dice, and he didn't seem to intend to let any of them go. Crazy ghost. There are many kinds of crazy ghosts, and this one is obviously a gambler among the crazy ghosts. 3 warriors suddenly rushed over and were about to attack. Chen Qing hurriedly stopped them. "Leave this to me." Quote. The 3 soldiers nodded, and without saying anything, they went to other places. This gambler was confused, so he should be F level. Sure enough, the ghost meter showed 5k. 1 knife killed the gambler. The demon suppression tower was only one last one away. Perhaps good things come with time, and the next few encounters were not F level, and the number of them was rapidly reduced by the soldiers of the anti-ghost army, so it was getting harder and harder to find another one. Chen Qing was a little anxious, and he came to the back of the no-ghost tower. The no-ghost tower had been cleared as a priority. But there was a corner of the wall here. Dry toilet. There might be a toilet ghost. Sure enough, an F-level toilet ghost was slurping its food. Chen Qing killed it with a knife, regardless of the disgust. The corpse of the toilet ghost turned into black mist and was sucked into the tower. The demon suppression tower began to tremble. At first it was a slight tremor, and then the vibration became larger and larger. Soon, the demon suppression tower and the necklace jumped up and down in front of Chen Qing's chest. Like a small fish that had just been caught. Finally, the movement of the demon suppression tower stopped. And Chen Qing felt that there was a 13th ghost. That ghost king is coming. The ghost king was in trouble. Thinking back to the terrifying figure in the second blood moon in the previous life, Chen Qing's heart was pounding. He collected these 12 useless ghosts just to get this ghost king. He practiced the black prison ghost contracting technique just to control this ghost king. Under normal circumstances, when using the black prison ghost contracting technique, the ghost will definitely resist and be forced into a life and death situation. But Chen Qing is different. He is the master of the demon suppression tower. Around this point, Chen Qing can make some arrangements. For example, swimming into the sea, for example, coming to the cliff. In this way, as long as he dies, the demon suppression tower will fall. In other words, the ghost has only 2 choices, either surrender or die together. It should be possible. Chen Qing was unsure, but only if he got this ghost king, he would have the confidence to survive in the blood moon. While thinking silently, the noise in the ghostless temple had become smaller and smaller. In addition to the terrible night watchman, the ghost-controlling army also cleared several very difficult A-level wandering souls, and one was seriously injured. The battle gradually came to an end. Finally, the portable intercom came with the sound of gathering. Everyone walked towards the temple gate, and Chen Qing met Zhou Yangchao. Chen Qing smiled and asked, "Is it going well?" Zhou Yangchao blushed and said, vaguely. It was only then that Chen Qing realized that Zhou Yangchao was very good-looking. The nose, eyes and lips were all small and just right. "You, don't tell others about my fate ghost." Zhou Yangchao came over and stared into Chen Qing's eyes. Chen Qing is not a person who likes to discuss others. But she hesitated deliberately. Just consider it as a favor I owe you. Deal. Chen Qing smiled. He whispered again, "Is your baboon improved a lot this time?" Zhou Yangchao's face turned red again. "Very much." Seeing that Chen Qing was still asking, she frowned and said, "Let's not talk about this, okay?" Chen Qing saw that she was really anxious and stopped discussing this topic. One armored military vehicle was missing. It should be the soldier who killed the sick ghost who drove away one. Han Yuan said. Although everyone was burned badly in this mission, it was a complete success. Other comrades will be sent to do the next cleanup work. Everyone has worked hard. There is one less car. Do you want to squeeze or wait for the car to be sent? Squeeze. It will only take a few minutes. Squeeze and it will be done. Han Yuan greeted the 3 newcomers to get into his car, and immediately 2 more squeezed in. One was He Chang, and the other was a round-faced soldier, Zhang Mingyuan, nicknamed QQ Egg. QQ Egg, don't squeeze me. This car is so small, I don't want to squeeze you. The 2 squeezed for a long time, and finally decided that He Chang would sit with QQ Egg. The car started. Chen Qing, you have to be credited for the first merit today. Han Yuan said. No, without the captain's wise command. Why, you have learned to flatter in just a few days. Han Yuan was dissatisfied with Chen Qing's tone. Chen Qing smiled and said, "Is there a reward?" "Yes." Han Yuan smiled. "But I plan to collectively report to the combat team that it can defend against special attacks. Otherwise, if a ghost with special abilities comes like today, we won't know how to die." Chen Qing wanted to ask if the possession was found, but held back. "Ji Luo is not bad. Did you succeed in the contract with the house ghost you have been waiting for today?" "Success." Ji Luo was excited when he mentioned this. Han Yuan thought for a moment and asked, "Are you selling the complete sequence of the house ghost?" With Han Yuan's shrewdness, he naturally knew that Ji Luo was so excited to contract an E-level ghost because his family knew the complete promotion route. Ji Luo was silent, but he did not deny it. After a while, he smiled bitterly and said, "Maybe my father will not agree." "Okay." Han Yuan did not pester him anymore. "The complete sequence is too precious. Each complete sequence is exchanged for the lives of countless people in the Southern Ghost Tide. Captain, to be honest, shouldn't it be the job of the ghost extermination team to clean up the ghosts? They can't spare their hands recently." Han Yuan said solemnly, "A princess from an unknown dynasty has woken up, which is a bit tricky." Chen Qing was stunned. He knew it was the one he had awakened. But in fact, Chen Qing had helped a lot, because once the blood moon came, this ghost would probably be several times stronger, and the loss at that time would be even more terrifying. He also thought about the ghost bases he knew about the ghost tide. Should he take them all? "Say it." Chen Qing pondered. "He Chang, be normal." Suddenly, QQ Dan cursed. "What is this hard thing?" Everyone's eyes widened immediately. "Knife, knife, knife. This is a knife." He Chang cursed. "Even if I want to mess with Kun, I will only mess with a handsome man like the captain. You are nothing." Han Yuan cursed. "Get lost." After a while, Han Yuan pulled down the makeup mirror, touched his chin and neck, and nodded, "But what you said about handsome is indeed very appropriate." Quote. 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 The four cars rushed into the city quickly. Chen Qing asked, "Captain, can I get off?" "Yes." Han Yuan asked, "Are you injured?" "If you are injured, it is best to go to the base to deal with it." "No." "Then go." After getting off the car, Chen Qing looked at the time. 4:30. There are very few taxis at this time. Chen Qing opened the taxi app, set the destination, and paid 1,000 yuan. Ding. In an instant, the order was snatched. Soon a car stopped in front of Chen Qing. "Hello, Mr. Chen." The driver looked happy. "Are you going to Shiju Peak?" He was still driving a car at this time in the middle of the night, and he must be trying to make more money. 1,000 yuan per order, it's so beautiful. Yeah. Shiju Peak is a famous scenic spot in Ziming City. It is extremely steep, and the surging Ziming River is at the bottom of the peak. The two got in the car and drove out quickly. The driver was still very excited to chat with Chen Qing, but Chen Qing's mind was full of the Ghost King's affairs, so he didn't pay much attention. The driver just concentrated on driving. After a while, the car arrived in front of the scenic spot, and the driver deliberately sent Chen Qing to a place where the car could no longer go up. Some popular attractions operate 24 hours a day, but this one has been closed for a long time. Chen Qing turned on the flashlight and walked around. He was much stronger than ordinary people now. He came to the steepest cliff without resting. He found a steep place close to the cliff. The slope here is very steep. People can barely stand, but if they die, their bodies will definitely fall into the river below. The river wind was blowing. Chen Qing calmed down and wrote a message. On August 15th, the moon will become a blood moon, the end of the world will come, and there will be hundreds of times more ghosts than before. 10,000 times more. Evil ghosts are everywhere. You take Xiaoman and Uncle Shaw into my safe house and store as much food as possible. Don't trust anyone. Don't trust anyone. My bank card is under the big pine tree on Shiju Peak, pressed by 2 stones, and the password is 371,896. After writing, set it to send at a scheduled time and press the bank card under 2 stones. If I don't make it back alive, Monkey will receive this message at noon tomorrow. I took a few deep breaths to control my violently beating heartbeat. A thought. The Ghost King in the Demon Suppression Tower appeared in front of him. He was a little thin, squatting on the ground with his back to Chen Qing. Without a chance to look closely, Chen Qing shouted out word by word. Black prison ghost contract technique. The two of them were killed, and the two of them were killed. Black prison ghost contract technique. Something like tentacles and black mist quickly enveloped the two. Chen Qing's heart was pounding. He said in a deep voice, "You also saw the environment we were in just now. On the edge of the cliff, people can stand, but if I die, my body will fall off the cliff. With the necklace, it may sink in the river for 10 or 100 years. You have no other choice. Either surrender to me and become my contracted ghost pet, or we die together. Dare to enter here, I have made all preparations. Now, please tell me your answer." The Ghost King was still squatting. No response at all. Something is not right with the plot. Chen Qing frowned and shouted again, "Stand up." The Ghost King stood up slowly. Then, Chen Qing was stunned. The beard was wild, like Zhang Fei, but his eyes were squinting, one was standing guard, the other was keeping watch. One foot was wearing 2 socks, and the other was not wearing socks. He tilted his head and looked at Chen Qing. "Where are my socks?" Chen Qing was saying expected included a tragic scene that was worth singing and crying. There was also a sad ending with a corpse on the river. There was no weird scene of being in the same room with a mental patient. For a moment, he was a little dazed, not knowing what to do. After thinking about it, he took off his socks and gave them to him. The Ghost King chuckled, drooling, wiped it on his face, sat down on the ground and put on his socks. If there was a choice, Chen Qing would never choose this thing. But he had no choice, and was now locked up in the black prison. While it was putting on its socks, with a thought, a black ring of spiritual energy emerged from Chen Qing's mind, slowly put on the Ghost King's head. Getting tighter and tighter, sinking into his head. The Ghost King seemed to have noticed something, and scratched his head, but the thing had already sunk into his head. Scratched twice more, and seeing no reaction, he sat down and started to put on his socks. It's done. Is this the feeling of a contracted ghost pet? Unlike the control of the demon suppression tower, he can feel the Ghost King's breathing and can clearly feel everything about the Ghost King. So ghosts also need to breathe. Chen Qing moved his mind and withdrew the black prison. It's done. It's so unexpected. He pointed the ghost watch at the Ghost King. 3, 4, 7, 9, 13, 18, 23, 35. It stopped at 35. Then 36, 35, 39, 34. For some reason, its value has been unstable and has been changing. It hovers around 38. 38, D-level wandering soul. It is completely unworthy of the title of Ghost King. But he knows that this is because he specializes in contracting fragile new wandering souls. If all 12 ghosts are replaced with higher level ones, the Ghost King will most likely be able to enter the transcendent level. Imagine that you have an S-level ghost pet, and your heart can't help but be a little excited. It's just that your brain is not very smart. This is a big problem. I don't know if changing the ghost can solve it. With a thought, he summoned the crazy ghost. The two standing together are closer than brothers. The 4 freely moving eyeballs are like a 360-degree panoramic camera, which can see everything in the east, west, north, south, up, down, left and right. Fortunately, the Ghost King has a beard like Zhang Fei, so he won't make a mistake. Chen Qing sighed. The 3-character saying of the celebrity surnamed Shen came to his mind. What a sin. At this time, the sky was slightly bright, and the crazy ghost was obviously a little weak. But the Ghost King didn't react at all. The 2 eyes wandered around. Chen Qing put the crazy ghost away, wanting to see the limit of the Ghost King, and waited quietly. The sky was getting brighter and brighter, and the first rays of the sun hit the top of the peak and slowly moved down. If it was a wandering soul at this time, it would probably be wiped out in an instant. But the Ghost King still didn't react at all. The sunlight gradually moved down and finally came to the top of the 2 people's heads. At this time, the Ghost King still didn't react at all. After checking with the ghost meter, the ghost energy value was still hovering around 38. The sun finally hit the Ghost King's face. The imagined scene of grilling ghost meat did not appear. The Ghost King did not react at all. He even turned around and yawned towards the sun. Chen Qing was stunned. Even though he had experienced 3 waves of blood moon ghosts, He had never heard of any ghosts that were not afraid of the sun. This is a ghost. The one above is the sun. Which one went wrong? The Ghost King yawned and sat on a stone, looking a little bored. Chen Qing then remembered the bank card under the stone, took it out and took it back, and deleted the scheduled text message to the monkey. Check the time and take back the Ghost King. He took a taxi and returned to the hotel. Chen Man was not there. He didn't care, had breakfast, and started running the Zhou Tian. At noon, the hotel phone rang. The other party didn't speak. And Chen Qing saw the note under the hotel phone. Mr. Chen Man is in our hands. If you don't want him to get into trouble, please take out 6 million and take it to the Taiping Road scrap brick factory. Chen Qing was stunned. A chill and anger surged in his heart. Chen Man is his only relative. Chen Qing wanted to solve this matter through the ghost guard, but Chen Man couldn't afford to let anything go. He didn't dare to be careless, so he went to the bank and took out 6 million. A lot. 3 boxes, each weighing about 70 kilograms. The security guard helped to bring the boxes to the door, and there happened to be a taxi, so he stopped it and loaded them one by one. Taiping Road scrap brickyard. Okay, this is a very unpopular place, at least Chen Qing has never heard of it. But the driver took a detour and took Chen Qing to the alley. As long as you don't hurt my brother, money is not a problem. Chen Qing suddenly spoke. The driver was slightly startled and smiled. Mr. Chen is a smart man. Then please wear this eye mask, Mr. Chen. Don't worry, we're here for money, not for life. Chen Qing put it on as he was told. It may be that the location is remote, or it may be that he deliberately took a detour. The driver walked for a long time. Someone got on the car halfway, and a sharp object was pressed against Chen Qing's neck, and Chen Qing was tied up tightly with a rope. Soon, the car stopped. Chen Qing was pushed and staggered, and finally stopped after a moment. The blindfold was pulled down. The sudden light made Chen Qing squint his eyes, and after a moment, he saw clearly. This is an abandoned factory building, broken bricks and dried feces are everywhere. There are 6 people in front. Now Chen Qing has a strong memory, and he can remember clearly even if he only saw them once. One is a hotel employee, one is a gold shop employee, and the other one surprised Chen Qing. Li Ba, a resident of the same community, a social person, he was among the people who killed Chen Qing in the last life. Chen Qing suddenly understood. He was showing off his wealth. He gave a reward of 300,000 yuan in the hotel like throwing money. He sold golden ducks in the gold shop for nearly 10 million. The decoration of the community cost nearly 10 million. No wonder he was targeted. Where is my brother? Li Ba, wearing a big gold chain and a big gold watch, did not answer, but said. The price has increased, you have to give another 10 million. Chen Qing only had 1.4 million left in his card. But Chen Qing did not hesitate. Money is not a problem, as long as I can see my brother. After a while, Chen Man was dragged out, his hands tied behind his back, his nose and face swollen, and he suffered a lot. Chen Qing's heart was relieved. I only have 1.4 million on my card, can I give it all to you? 1.2 million per person is enough. But the boss wants 5 million, and the 5 of us brothers must have at least 2 million, right? Got it. Chen Qing just made sure that all of them were present. A thought. The demon suppression tower shook slightly. 13 ghosts suddenly appeared. Crazy ghosts, 2 toilet ghosts, 2 air-eating ghosts, 4 starving ghosts, long-tongued ghosts, tail-following bugs. They were all weird and terrifying. Everyone was horrified. What is this? Ghosts, ghosts, ghosts. Everyone was in a mess. But what Chen Qing didn't expect was that the Ghost King was standing, while the other ghosts were kneeling on the ground, trembling. Except for the crazy ghost who seemed to be unable to feel the horror of the Ghost King, he still stood upright. Chen Qing didn't expect these ghosts to be like this, and he had an idea. Kill them. The ghosts struggled to get up and rushed towards everyone. But they were too weak, especially now it was daytime. Each one was very slow. The Ghost King rushed forward first, with his toes turned outward and his posture awkward, while shouting, "Cut it into 8 pieces. Cut it into 8 pieces." The first person's body was suddenly torn into 8 pieces. With a loud bang, the internal organs fell to the ground. The Ghost King rushed over, but he didn't expect that this person would suddenly burst in front of him. He was slightly stunned and turned to another person. He was still shouting, "Burn to death! Burn to death!" Boom! The body of the person who was running away in front of him was suddenly covered in a raging fire. The fire was so warm that it burned him to charcoal in just a moment. Chen Qing was stunned. Is this what he said? He increased his speed and cut the rope with a portable small tool knife. He threw out the demon-suppressing tower with one hand. Big! A 6 or 7 meter long iron tower suddenly appeared and smashed a man into a pulp. Chen Qing held the kunwu knife in his hand. One knife. He inserted it directly into the taxi driver's brain. He pulled it apart horizontally, splitting the head in half and rushed forward again. The other ghosts were already tearing apart the gold shop employees. He was so scared that he could only scream, "Ah! Help! Help! These ghosts. Very weak, right?" Chen Qing came to Li Ba with a cold face. "Yes, they are all wandering souls that will break at the touch." A flash of knife light. Li Ba's left arm was cut off at the root. Li Ba screamed, Don't kill me, we are neighbors." "What's the matter, Li Ba?" Li Ba was stunned. He never thought that Chen Qing knew him. However, there was no time to think, and another knife. The right arm was cut off at the root. Blood spurted out from the roots of both arms. Li Ba's body was convulsing and shaking. Don't. I'll buy my life. I have money. Chen Qing did not react at all and raised the knife again. Gold is not worth it. Li Ba suddenly shouted hoarsely, as if he had grabbed a life-saving straw. Chen Qing paused, his brows furrowed. How did he know about Jin Buhuan? Li Ba's lips had turned pale, and his head was covered in cold sweat, but he still shouted, "Jin Buhuan. Someone wants your Jin Buhuan." Chen Qing's brows furrowed even tighter. Li Ba saw Chen Qing stop moving. "Hotel. Sun Lian from the hotel wanted to mess with you, and secretly installed surveillance in the room. Filmed the Jin Buhuan. Then, the news spread. We are just thugs, let me go. Jin Buhuan. Suddenly a strange voice came. Jin Buhuan suddenly appeared in front of him. Still thin and small, carrying an unusually large bag full of gold ingots. Jin Buhuan said, and jumped in front of Li Ba in a few steps, as if jumping into the water. Jumping straight into Li Ba's stomach. Li Ba's body quickly turned into gold, his eyes were filled with fear. Gold cannot be replaced. Fear was forever fixed in his eyes. Chen Qing looked at this golden body, a real golden body. In silence, anyone who touches Chen Man should die. But he couldn't sleep or eat well until the man behind the scenes was found out. The first time Chen Qing killed someone in his 2 lives. But surprisingly, there was no discomfort. It was terrifyingly calm. The ghost of the F-level wandering soul was still too weak. If it hadn't appeared suddenly and scared the group of people, there might have been danger. He commanded the ghosts to clean up the bodies, but they all fell to the ground one after another. Even though the factory had a roof and the sun couldn't shine on them, it was daytime after all. Except for the Ghost King, the rest couldn't bear it. Helplessly, he took the ghosts back and used the demon tower to collect all the bodies. Li Ba's body had turned into gold. What surprised Chen Qing was that Li Ba's mobile phone actually fell to the ground. His hands were cut off by Chen Qing before he turned into gold, so they should be able to be used to unlock the phone. He tried fingerprint unlocking and it worked. He first looked at the address book and took photos of all the phone numbers he had contacted in the past week. Then he looked through text messages and WeChat. Li Ba was a gangster, and he had a lot of fun with his phone. There was a group called Dancing Demons, with many pictures and videos. Almost all of them could be posted in the Curiosity category of adult websites. In this group, humans can lay eggs. The capacity is infinitely large. The old woman was dressed up. Scrolling up, photos of Chen Qing and Chen Man appeared. It can be seen that they were taken with a long telephoto lens, and they should have been secretly taken in the car. It records where Chen Qing went and what he did. There are also 1 or 2 comments from time to time. This guy is so rich. He just went to a camping store and spent hundreds of thousands. There are also surveillance footage. Especially when there was a conflict with his aunt's family, the most discussion was made. He spent 280,000 in just a few minutes today. I'd be sorry if I didn't rob him. When will we do it? In the next 2 days. Further down. That little fool has been tied up. Did you see where he was? I've been following him. He's going to come out soon. Car, hurry up. Okay, he got on Lao Wang's car, it's stable. I've made a fortune. Stable, stable, Li Ba replied. Don't be careless, hold on for the last hour. We'll have a celebration party tonight, 3 skinny horses for each person. Just watching. A message suddenly popped up on WeChat. Did you succeed? Chen Qing flipped up, and murderous intent gradually appeared in his eyes. The message from 3 days ago had been deleted, but Li Ba had been reporting the progress. I think this is the person who wanted to get Chen Qing behind the scenes. It can be seen that this person deliberately hides himself. His nickname is a bunch of letters and numbers, and his profile picture is blank, without any introduction. But Li Ba gave the note, Mr. Yu. The surname Yu is not common. Without rushing to reply, Chen Qing quickly looked through Li Ba's replies to other people. And pondered his habitual tone. Reply. Both are tied up. The other party immediately replied. That's good, you guys hide first, I'll call you later. I want to ask more, but I'm afraid of alerting the enemy, so I can only give up for now. 6 people disappearing together is too obvious. It will soon arouse suspicion. The person behind the scenes must be found as soon as possible. I looked at Li Ba's bank app again, and there are more than 11 million deposits. Really rich, Chen Qing said secretly, and then looked at the recent transfers. There are 2, each of 5 million. The remittance account is called Jinhua. Yu Jinhua. But seeing how cautious he was on WeChat, the probability of using his real name when transferring money was not high. Chen Qing, are they trying to steal our money? Chen Man had suffered a lot, and there were fingerprints on his face. If it were an ordinary child, seeing a ghost in such a bloody scene, he would have collapsed long ago. But Chen Man was born without emotions, anger, sorrow, or joy, and seemed very calm. Well, so they were all killed. There were 4 mobile phones at the scene, and 3 of them could be unlocked using the fingerprints on the stumps. But there was no valuable information. Maybe they didn't know about the existence of General Yu. Thinking of this, Li Ba's mobile phone suddenly rang. Chen Qing pressed the recording button and then connected. Neither side spoke. It was only 2 seconds before the other party hung up. Secretly said something bad. Chen Qing called again, and the phone was turned off. This number may never be turned on again. Chen Qing narrowed his eyes and felt a sense of pressure. This kind of money is not worth changing. The hidden ghost is not known to ordinary people. Moreover, he is generous and not short of money. His identity is definitely not simple. After keeping several mobile phones and the corresponding fingers properly, Chen Qing went back. The hotel can no longer be lived in. Chen Man simply did not go to school. After thinking about it, it seems that he can only go to the base before the house is completed. I don't know if I can take Chen Man with me. I called He Chang to ask. He Chang was stunned. Can children live in the dormitory? There is no precedent. Brother Chang, help. Recently, someone has been targeting me and my brother, and I can't take care of him every day. If it doesn't work, can I exchange it for the remaining opportunity to select antiques? He Chang was silent for a while, and said, I'll ask the captain. After a while, a strange number called. As soon as Chen Qing answered the phone, Han Yuan's hearty laughter came over. I have long said that my great personality can impress everyone, but they don't believe it. Look, now it's not just you, you also brought your family to join me. Since you have made great contributions, it's confirmed. Chen Qing was overjoyed. Thank you, Captain. After hanging up the phone, Chen Qing came to the hotel. He wanted to see if there were any clues left here. The room was too big and difficult to search. He also summoned the Ghost King to help find it together. Of course, looking at the Ghost King's gifted appearance, Chen Qing didn't hold much hope. Monitor, 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 where are you? The Ghost King shouted. Chen Qing was in a big head and was about to stop it, but suddenly there was a clang, and a screw fell off the central air conditioner. Looking up, a grill was shaking and about to fall. Pulling a chair to stand on the feet, dismantling the grill, and saw a small camera. After taking a deep look at the Ghost King, I realized that this guy might really have the abnormal ability of saying what comes true. Put this wireless Wi-Fi surveillance camera. Take out the memory card inside, go to the computer and look at it, and flip to the front. A face in the screen is adjusting nervously, adjusting the position, installing the fence, and quickly leaving the room. Chen Qing knows this person, the employee who died in his hand today. The clues here are also broken. Chen Qing murmured. Suddenly looked at the Ghost King. The wandering souls in the initial stage are in chaos, and they can only stabilize when they reach level D. At this time, most of them can talk and communicate normally. And awakening ability is a matter of evil ghost level. But today, the Ghost King of the D-level wandering soul has awakened his ability. Shouting, cut into pieces, the person was torn into 8 pieces out of thin air. Shouting, burn him to death, the person was burned to death by the strange fire. Now, after shouting, where are you, the surveillance camera really appeared. Could it be that the awakened ability is something like, words come true? This degree of perversion is really terrible. Chen Qing frowned. Everything about the Ghost King cannot be guessed by common sense. As a ghost, he is not afraid of the sun. It's just a D-level wandering soul, but it has awakened its ability. Ah, you are. Chen Qing sorted out his thoughts. What's your name? The Ghost King looked at the bathroom with one eye and the ceiling with the other. He was so indifferent. ... Ignore me. Most of the things are from the hotel, and there is nothing to pack. But when I took out the Zhongkui map, the Ghost King came over. He took the Zhongkui map and shook it open with a rustling sound. Chen Qing was so scared that his heart tightened, but he wanted to see what he wanted to do, so he didn't stop him. The Ghost King looked at the picture of Zhongkui catching ghosts, tilting his head, as if he didn't understand. You hold it upside down. Chen Qing sighed and turned the picture of Zhongkui over. The Ghost King's eyes rolled around and he suddenly got angry. He threw the picture heavily on the ground. He screamed and stepped on it madly, changing his feet and jumping on it. Chen Qing was shocked and pushed the Ghost King away. Are you crazy? This is a means of self-protection after the blood moon. If it is damaged by this guy, Chen Qing will be heartbroken. The Ghost King was still not satisfied and pointed at the picture and cursed. He said a lot of nonsense. What on earth did this picture offend you? Chen Qing said angrily, get out of here. The Ghost King's anger value was still full. Who is it? Who drew me so ugly? Ah, Chen Qing's body froze, and his heart was already moving mountains and seas. Pointing at Zhongkui in the painting, you said. Is this you? The Ghost King did not answer Chen Qing, but continued to point at the Zhongkui painting and yell. Chen Qing was really shocked. But after thinking about it, it made sense. The Ghost King is not afraid of the sun, which is extremely abnormal. Chen Qing knows that there are only 2 kinds of ghosts that are not afraid of the sun. One is the one that possesses people, and the other is called Maozhong. Apart from this, other ghosts are particularly afraid of the Ghost King. It is fear, not respect or submission. I am afraid that only Zhongkui has such influence. Finally, there is this strange ability of saying what comes true, which is obviously not something that ordinary wandering souls can have. But why was he imprisoned in the demon suppression tower? As he was thinking, Chen Qing's heart trembled. In the previous life, the Ghost King in Han Yuan's demon suppression tower was definitely not Zhongkui. So what's going on? Chapter 31. The 2 of them were in the same demon suppressing tower. Isn't it the same demon suppressing tower? Chen Qing shook his head and rejected the idea. After moving the things to the base, Chen Qing took Chen Man to the captain's office to report. We have to meet each other. Is this your brother? Was he beaten? Han Yuan paused when he saw Chen Man, and his face became solemn the next moment. Huh. Chen Man was born in the Qi and Blood realm, which Chen Qing didn't know until the 2 brothers died together. Could Han Yuan see it? Chen Qing, your brother. Han Yuan frowned. It shouldn't be. He picked up the phone in the office, but put it down again. I'll take him there. What's wrong? The blood and Qi are very condensed, and he is a natural embryo for practicing blood and Qi. Chen Qing was naturally clear. However, Chen Qing didn't want Chen Man to learn low-level skills. If you want to practice practice, Vajra subduing demons. Now that he has 2 great artifacts, there is no problem in protecting Chen Man in the early stage. Chen Qing, how about letting your brother worship me as a master? Han Yuan looked confident. I dare not say more, in terms of blood and qi, I am also a small master in Ziming City. Chen Qing was hesitating. Han Yuan was powerful, and he had the demon suppression tower in his previous life, and he was also one of the top few in Ziming City. But Chen Qing didn't think he could come up with a better skill. Chen Man needs someone to guide him, but Chen Qing has no experience in this area. After thinking for a while, Chen Qing nodded heavily. Thank you, Captain, he said to Chen Man again. Xiao Man, come and become my disciple. Chen Man had no expression on his face. I have learned a lot now, and I don't want to learn any more. This is martial arts training. We won't study any more in the future. Okay then. Chen Man immediately knelt down and kowtowed 3 times. Master, I, your disciple Chen Man, pay my respects. Quote. Where did you learn all this? Chen Qing was speechless. Han Yuan laughed. Okay. Turning back to wink at Chen Qing. Sometimes you really need to learn the personality charm of this captain. Helping Chen Man up, Han Yuan took Chen Man to the martial arts hall. Like the ghost tamer, the berserker also has his own learning battlefield, but the number of people is relatively small, plus the 6 people just accepted this year, there are only 12 in total. Captain, all the people who were training stopped. There was a muscular man among them. He was the one who took away the 6 newcomers who chose berserker. You guys practice your own way, Han Yuan said. Muscle Tyrant, come here. The bald man's real name is Lin Dao. He got this nickname because of his exaggerated muscles. Boss, can you give me some face? All my students are here. Got it, Muscle Tyrant. Han Yuan pointed at Chen Man. Do a blood gas test on him. Muscle Tyrant was a little surprised. He looked at Chen Man and suddenly widened his eyes. Not bad. Han Yuan looked proud. My new disciple. The 4 of them came to a room, which was similar to the last time Chen Qing did a talent test. It's just that the test equipment is made according to the size of an adult. Chen Man can only sit on it as small as possible. But at least it can be tested. Chen Man sat expressionless, with a serious face. Buzz. A slight shock. Han Yuan shouted. 3 S's. Chen Qing looked over and saw a bunch of complicated numbers, with SSS written on the last line. Ha. Tianyuan sect has welcomed the most talented disciple. Han Yuan laughed. Tianyuan sect. Jiba frowned. What Tianyuan sect? It's just been established. I'm the founder of the sect, and Chen Man is the chief disciple. It turns out to be a 2-person show. Okay, Chen Qing, go back. Han Yuan was very happy. Chen Man will follow me for food and accommodation in the future. Jiba frowned and said, Boss, the Ghost Slayer team needs blood embryos the most. What should they do if they need people? 18 years old. You can only join the team at 18. Chen Man is my disciple. Do you understand? He is not a member of the army. Once a teacher, always a father. Who dares to snatch my son? Jiba could only nod. SSS level talent is extraordinary. Not to mention the Ghost Control Army, even the Ghost Extermination team may not encounter one in a year. This is already the top talent, a true numerical monster. Chen Qing knew that Chen Man had a terrible talent, but he did not expect SSS. I told Han Yuan roughly that Chen Man was born with 1 soul missing and could not feel emotions. Han Yuan looked serious and sighed. I just saw it. Maybe this is the price of his abnormal talent. He said again. Chen Qing, don't worry. I, Han Yuan, guarantee that Chen Man will become the strongest master in Ziming before he reaches adulthood. I can't wait for 10 years. Chen Qing sighed in his heart, but still thanked him solemnly. Then thank you, Tianyuan Daozu. Han Yuan was stunned and laughed. Yes, this name is loud. Han Yuan loved Chen Man to the extreme. Chen Qing thought about it and finally had an idea. He asked, Captain, can I apply to participate in the Princess Tomb? Han Yuan frowned, but didn't ask more. He went out to make a phone call and nodded when he came back. Sure, just show your ID when you get there. I won't ask what you want to do, but don't be stubborn. Understood. Thank you, Captain. He wanted to go to the Princess Tomb for 2 reasons. 1. Replace the ghost pet. Now that Zhang Kui has been contracted, those fragile F-level ghost pets have to be replaced. These ghosts are too fragile and have almost no effect except scaring people. 2. Awakening. Vajra subduing demons. Chen Man needs a good technique. Although Han Yuan is strong, he probably doesn't have it. Give this awakening technique to Han Yuan so that he can teach Chen Man better. When I returned to the dormitory, the 3 roommates should have been learning soul movement and didn't come back. Chen Qing meditated and ran the Zhou Tian. After a while, the 3 returned to the dormitory. Ji Yuxing was still aloof, lying on the bed silently without saying a word. Monkey and Fatty kept complaining about the difficulty of soul movement. Soul movement within a week, must have your own ghost pet within 2 weeks. I really don't know how this can be achieved. I really have no hope at all. Me too, I guess I will be eliminated after a week. The 2 sighed. After a while, the 3 had dinner together, and Chen Qing left the base. I took a taxi to the outskirts of the city. It was already dark when I arrived at the princess's tomb. There were people guarding the roadside. Chen Qing showed his certificate of the anti-ghost army soldier and went over. There was a constant buzzing sound, like the wind blowing through the treetops, but if you listen carefully, there was a hint of whispering. It seemed that a woman was whispering something in a far distance. When I listened carefully, the sound disappeared and sounded in my ears from time to time. Looking at the ghost watch, the concentration of ghost energy was still a little bit off. Hold on. You must hold on. At this time, a ghost-killing team was running madly with a seriously injured soldier on their back. The seriously injured soldier on his back was covered in blood, with a bloody hole on his chest, and he had already fainted. But, when the 2 passed by Chen Qing, the already unconscious soldier raised his head. With red light in his eyes, grinning at Chen Qing. The 2 of them staggered, and Chen Qing somehow saw the woman's face. Hey! Chen Qing wanted to say something, but the man carrying the soldier was obviously anxious, and ran away quickly without stopping. A chill gradually rose in Chen Qing's heart. Although the strange existence in the tomb that day was not seen, it said, "Come back, brother," through everyone's mouth. The look in the eyes of the seriously injured soldier just now. Chen Qing's footsteps paused, but when he thought that the main force of the ghost-killing team was over there in the tomb, he should not be in any danger for the time being, so he continued to move forward. Soon, Chen Qing saw the first ghost. Starving ghost, E-level wandering soul. The improvement is not big, just skip it. The closer to the princess's tomb, the greater the density of ghosts. The number of ghost encounters increases at a speed visible to the naked eye. Chen Qing's goal is to be a wandering soul of level D and C. If it is higher, he may not be able to handle it. Of course, if he can encounter a drowned ghost or a child ghost, the conditions must be relaxed. After all, Chen Qing has the complete sequence for these 2 types of ghosts to be promoted to evil spirits. The necklace shook slightly. Chen Qing immediately clenched the kunwu knife and vaguely saw a figure in front of him. But the speed was very fast and ran away in a flash. Who are you? What are you doing here? Suddenly a voice came over, and Chen Qing's heart trembled. He turned his head immediately and saw a girl of the same age as himself. Her shoulder was injured and wrapped in gauze, and she looked very weak. But her eyebrows and eyes were picturesque, her figure was upright, and every detail of her facial features seemed to be carved by the energy of the top masters. Especially the big eyes, which seemed to be filled with stars, so clear and thrilling. Chen Qing was slightly distracted, but soon came back to his senses. Oh, I am from the Ghost Control Army, and I applied to participate in the mission. The girl looked at Chen Qing suspiciously, nodded, and asked, "Have you seen my teammates? One is injured, and the other one is carrying him. We just met, and went over there." Chen Qing pointed to the direction where the 2 soldiers ran just now. "That's good." The girl nodded, staggered suddenly, and fell straight down. Chen Qing hurriedly took 2 steps forward and hugged her. Fragrance. It's not the thick fragrance of cosmetics that can't be brushed away. And like a few small wild flowers, like the wind blowing in the valley in the morning, like the cool air rolling down the snow-capped mountains. The girl was extremely weak, but she was still conscious, struggling. You let me go." Oh. Chen Qing was a little at a loss, helped her to the side of the road, sat down against a tree, and then let go. The girl was panting heavily. Chen Qing couldn't help but worry. Are you okay? What do you think? The girl rolled her eyes at Chen Qing. Chen Qing simply shut his mouth. That princess is so powerful, she scattered us all, many brothers and sisters were seriously injured, and many people died. Chen Qing was slightly stunned. But he didn't expect the princess to be so powerful. How many people did you come with? Did you call for support? Chen Qing asked hurriedly. The girl was pale, leaning against the tree, just shaking her head slightly. Chen Qing stood up. He still had things to do. Can you stay with me for a while? I'm a little scared. The girl immediately became nervous. Chen Qing was a little embarrassed. If he left, it would be fine if the girl didn't encounter a ghost, but if she did, she would definitely die. He looked at the ghost watch, and the concentration of ghost energy here was not enough to awaken the Vajra subduing demon skill. But he still took out the book, carefully rolled it into a tube, put it in a bag and inserted it into his belt. I have to go to the princess's tomb, or I can take you with me. The girl struggled a little, and finally whispered, then I'll trouble you. At that moment, Chen Qing put one hand on her shoulder, but he didn't know where to put the other hand. It's okay, the girl whispered, thank you for your help. Chen Qing nodded, and then held her waist. He then helped her slowly approach the direction of the princess's tomb. The girl's brows gradually frowned. It's very dangerous over there, why are you going there? Something. Chen Qing did not answer, but looked at the ghost watch and Vajra subduing demons from time to time. After a moment, the girl saw the clue. You want to borrow the breath to awaken this book. Chen Qing was slightly startled and nodded, yes. Oh, the girl's body seemed to be getting more and more fragile, and the weight of Chen Qing's support. It was getting worse little by little. Can you carry me? Chen Qing half squatted down and carried the girl on his back. Her body was very soft and fragrant. The girl pressed against Chen Qing's back, and her breath hit Chen Qing's ear. Brother, what's your name? Chen Qing. What about you? Gong Wagu. Gong Wagu. A heroine-level name. Chen Qing thought to himself. Gong Wagu's hand was around Chen Qing's neck, but it seemed to be weak and was sliding down little by little. Chen Qing's body felt a little soft, and he vaguely felt that something was wrong with the other party. Gong Wagu placed his hands on Chen Qing's chest. Suddenly, Gong Wagu's face flashed with a ferocious look. The nails suddenly exploded, instantly became dozens of times longer. Like 10 sharp thorns, piercing straight into Chen Qing's heart. Hey! A skinny arm suddenly swung out from the necklace on his chest, opening one hand. But the other hand still pierced Chen Qing's chest. Blood burst out from Chen Qing's kunwu sword. He stabbed back with his backhand. Gong Wagu kicked Chen Qing's back heavily with both legs, and stood firmly with a leap back. How could he still look weak? So stupid. I'm really stupid. There were 5 blood holes in Chen Qing's chest, and blood gushed out. The first time this woman approached, the demon suppression tower had already shaken, but she happened to see another ghost, so she didn't doubt it. But she knew that ghost energy could activate ancient objects, but she didn't even react. Ghost energy can activate ancient objects. Is this something that ordinary people can know? So stupid. I actually met Painted Skin here. Painted Skin. This is a painted skin of the evil ghost level. Chen Qing's knife was propped up on the ground, and he felt that all his strength was rapidly draining from the bloody hole in his chest. And Zhang Kui in the necklace had already crawled up like a turtle. Gong Wagu didn't see clearly, but the hair on his body stood on end. His body sank slightly, and his 10 sharp nails were already open, ready to tear apart the enemies that appeared at any time. But there was a palpitating breath on that skinny figure. Zhang Kui finally got out of the demon suppression tower and fell to the ground with a bang. He still looked up at the sky and down at the ground. The next moment, Gong Wagu seemed to remember something, screamed, and his body was like an arrow from a string, bursting out at a terrifying speed to escape. Painted Skin. Ah, Painted Skin. Zhang Kui shouted excitedly, took a turtle step to chase, but the speed difference between the two was too great, and it seemed impossible to catch up. Don't go. Chen Qing was dazed and wanted him to protect him, but Zhang Kui had already run away. Using the last of his soul power to summon 2 ghosts, he had no more strength and fell to the ground. The two of them were so busy that they had to face each other. In a daze, Chen Qing seemed to hear the captain talking. He tried to open his eyes and saw 3 figures. The figures were a little hazy and unclear, but soon, Chen Qing's hair stood up. Gong Wagu, that painted skin, still there. Chen Qing wanted to shout, but there was still a tracheal tube in his mouth. He moved slightly and found that his body was full of tubes. There was also a blood bag next to him. He looked around and found that there was nothing he could use. With a thought, a dagger appeared in his hand. He cut all the tubes with one knife, used all his strength, and stabbed Gong Wagu with one knife. By the time Gong Wagu realized it, it was too late. He could only barely move aside. Stop. Han Yuan also grabbed Chen Qing. But Chen Qing was drowsy and didn't have much strength. The knife only cut a hole in Gong Wagu's arm. Gong Wagu's blood soon came out. He frowned and looked at Chen Qing coldly. Hey, hey, Chen Qing pointed at Gong Wagu, ghost. Han Yuan was so smart that he understood it immediately. That painted skin turned into Captain Gong. Captain Gong, you stay in the team. Send an order. Captain Gong Wagu is at the base of the ghost killing team and will not leave in the next few days. If anyone sees a second Gong Wagu, kill him without mercy. Chen Qing must have been given anesthesia and his head was drowsy, but he still understood it. His eyes went dark and he fainted again. Doctor, doctor. Han Yuan quickly called the doctor and inserted various tubes again. Then he picked up Chen Qing's dagger, thinking, his things have been put away. Where did he get this knife? Mine. Han Yuan shook his head. Gong Wagu's face was cold. Captain Han, Huapi has become my appearance, so it is not convenient for me to show up again. I'll leave this matter to you. Yes. When Chen Qing woke up again, his hands and feet were tied with restraints. His consciousness was still a little fuzzy. The tracheal tube in his mouth had been removed, but his throat was still very painful. Especially his mouth was very dry. A small figure stood by the bed, expressionless. Chen Man. He looked straight at Chen Qing. Chen Qing, will you die? Chen Qing had long been accustomed to Chen Man's undecorated tone. He shook his head and wanted to answer, no, but his voice was hoarse and almost silent. Chen Shan is gone, Chen Quan is gone, I only have you, please don't die, okay. Chen Man looked at Chen Qing seriously, expressionless, but the little rolling knife who never cried or laughed was already full of tears. I will practice martial arts seriously to protect you, please don't die. I won't die. Chen Qing tried hard and finally made a little hoarse voice. There was a sharp pain in the chest, and the heart was warm. This little fat man became more and more reliable. Thinking of this, Gong Wagu walked in. Chen Qing's heart trembled. Don't worry, I'm a human. Gong Wagu said calmly. What happened? Chen Qing looked at this flawless face and still felt depressed. Water. The doctor said you can't drink water yet. Gong Wagu took out a cotton swab, dipped it in some glucose, and applied it on Chen Qing's lips. That painted skin. Chen Qing's voice was very low, but Gong Wagu could hear it clearly. At that moment, he told everything about his encounter with painted skin and what happened afterwards. He only concealed the existence of Zhang Kui. He looked at the gauze on Gong Wagu's hand and said, I'm sorry. It's a small matter. Gong Wagu frowned. Does that mean painted skin itself is not weak? No wonder so many people were killed. This ability is really tricky. You should have a good rest. If you have the ability, run the Zhou Tian, and you will get better faster. Gong Wagu said and left. A moment later, the doctor came to give Chen Qing a refill of medicine and untied the restraints. Chen Qing just felt a little overwhelmed. Painted skin is a demon level. Although Zhang Kui has all kinds of strange magical powers, he is only a D-level wandering soul after all. I don't know what the result will be. But there is no point in worrying now. Chen Qing quietly lay on the bed and ran the Zhou Tian. After each Zhou Tian passed, his body felt much more relaxed. During the time he was lying on the bed, Han Yuan came again and took Chen Man away. The matter of catching the painted skin has risen to the same level as clearing the princess tomb. Although the painted skin is not powerful, this strange ability is hard to guard against. And if it changes into a human, especially a high-level one, it will be dangerous. The people who captured the painted skin will update a secret code every day, which can effectively prevent the painted skin from turning into a human around them for the time being. Chen Qing lay in bed for 3 days and then applied for discharge. Although his chest was still bandaged, it had basically healed. He got his things back. Very good, everything was there, especially the Vajra subduing demon skill, which had indeed awakened. He took a taxi to the outskirts of the city as soon as possible. Zhang Kui must be found. Just want to find a mental patient in the wilderness, how easy is it? Fortunately, the two have a contract after all, the soul is unified, and there is a vague sense of induction. Chen Qing closed his eyes and felt it, the sense was very weak. He could only distinguish a general direction. But there was no other choice. Chen Qing walked silently towards the west. Every 10 minutes or so, he would stop to feel the direction. Repeatedly like this, it was noon in a blink of an eye. He took out the hot pork with preserved vegetables from the tower and ate a whole bowl of rice with it. Set off again. After another hour, Chen Qing's senses became stronger and stronger. At this time, Chen Qing stopped every 2 minutes to adjust the direction. After another 10 minutes, Chen Qing saw the figure. Zhang Kui. Chen Qing was delighted. I finally found you. Zhang Kui was stunned and looked over. Ha ha, you're here, what should I do? What should I do? Zhang Kui was overjoyed when he saw Chen Qing. He kept muttering to himself. Is there a way? Do you have a way? Chen Qing had long been accustomed to the crazy man's strange words and didn't care. He looked at him carefully. He must have walked a lot in the past 3 days. The slippers were lost, and the soles of the 2 socks on the left foot had been worn out, and the 2 socks were hanging on the ankles like wrist guards. There were a lot of clothes in the demon-suppressing tower, so Chen Qing took out new socks and shoes. Originally, he wanted to teach him the correct way to dress. But soon Chen Qing gave up. Wearing sneakers, a difficult action, was not suitable for him. So Zhang Kui became the same as before. What should I do? Zhang Kui walked around anxiously, frowning. What do you mean? Look, look, Zhang Kui pulled Chen Qing to a stream. There was a 1-meter diameter cylindrical cement cylinder on the stream, which served as a small bridge. Zhang Kui jumped into the stream first, pulled away the lush water plants, looked into the cement cylinder, and kept frowning. What should I do? What should I do? What should I do? Chen Qing was puzzled, but he still jumped down. When he came to the cement cylinder and looked inside, his hair stood on end. The stream in the cement cylinder was rushing. There was a stone in the middle, and under the stone was a complete, white human skin like plaster. The human skin was swaying gently with the water flow, and the long black hair spread out softly in the water. Chen Qing's scalp was numb, and he looked at Zhang Kui. Is this the painted skin? Yes, yes, painted skin, it's painted skin. Hiss, ah, I can't find the corpse oil, hiss, what should I do? I can't see the sun. What should I do, hiss. He said something that Chen Qing couldn't understand at all, but it was enough to make people shudder. Help. Suddenly, a voice as thin as a mosquito came over. Save me, great immortal, save me. Chen Qing's scalp was about to explode. The voice came from the human skin in the water. The wound was so severe that the wound was still alive. Great immortal, help me. Chen Qing took out the Kunwu sword, and as his soul power was stimulated, the blood pattern on the sword surface emerged. He bent over and came to the human skin. There were holes in the eyes and mouth of the human skin, but there was nothing inside. It was just a piece of skin. His mouth was opening and closing. Great immortal, help me. Great immortal, help me. Great God, Zhang Kui wants to refine me into clothes. Great God must save me. Save you? Why? Chen Qing sneered. It was you who wanted to kill me 3 days ago, and now you want me to save you. Great immortal, I can transform. Do you want a girl? The courtesan, the lady from a noble family, from the nobles to the old women and children, I can transform you. If you wear me as clothes, I can transform you into anyone, and even gods and demons can hardly recognize you. Painted Skin tried hard to promote itself. Outside, Zhang Kui was getting more and more irritable. Corpse oil, corpse oil, corpse oil. Where is the corpse oil? Chen Qing frowned and asked. Zhang Kui wants to refine you into clothes. What clothes? What's the use? Painted Skin was silent. Think about it slowly. Chen Qing wanted to leave immediately. I say, Cloud robe, he wants to refine me into a cloud robe. Painted Skin's voice was filled with tears. Cloud robe, what's the use? No ghosts can argue, no evil can invade. That is to say, if I am no longer disturbed by ghosts, will ghosts still regard me as one of their kind? Chen Qing was silent. Refine, must refine. In the blood moon, if there is such a piece of clothing, it is simply a priceless treasure. As if seeing through Chen Qing's thoughts, Painted Skin said anxiously, Great Immortal, Great Immortal. This can also be used when I am alive, and I can serve you for my whole life. Maybe, but I am more assured to refine clothes made of dead objects. With an idea in mind, he took out the cement cylinder. Seeing Zhang Kui, who was still anxiously turning around, Chen Qing asked, Zhang Kui, what is the purpose of refining a cloud robe? Cloud robe. Go home. How can I go home without wearing a cloud robe? Go home. Chen Qing was unhappy now. You, my ghost pet. I still have to rely on you when the blood moon comes. Great Immortal, Great Immortal. Painted Skin anxiously called out again, Please spare my life. I know the spiritual guides of many ghosts. I swear by Saitagarbha Bodhisattva that I will serve you with all my heart. Chen Qing was shaken. The cloud robe sounded very exciting, but first of all, Zhang Kui was very unreliable and could not even wear shoes. This kind of thing that sounds difficult is very risky. Secondly, if it is really refined, what if Zhang Kui runs away? Just like this time, he climbed out of the demon suppression tower without my order. What if he patted his butt and disappeared? Thinking of this, Chen Qing took the demon suppression tower. The blood pattern of the Kunwu sword floated, a knife. But, no reaction. The Painted Skin was light and thin, and it felt like it could be torn in half at will, but even the Kunwu sword could not cut through it. Chen Qing was a little surprised. If my body is not strong, I can't refine it into a cloud robe. Painted Skin's tone changed from pleading to cold. Really? Chen Qing also sneered and looked outside. I wonder what will happen if it is exposed to the sun. Painted Skin was startled and immediately begged again, Great Immortal. Great Immortal. I was wrong. Wrong. Chen Qing weighed the demon suppression tower. What I killed can be stored in the demon suppression tower. But now the question is, how can I kill you? No, 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 Painted Skin immediately resisted. Great Immortal, please take me as a ghost pet. I will definitely obey. Chen Qing shook his head. The black prison ghost contract technique is too dangerous. It is not right to bet everything on Zhang Kui. Moreover, if I die, Zhang Kui in the demon suppression tower will naturally be gone. And Painted Skin, I dare not take this risk. Do you have any concerns? Painted Skin asked in a low voice. Chen Qing directly told the black prison ghost contracting technique, and Painted Skin said helplessly, Great Immortal, how dare I harm you? Even if I harm you, I still have to get out of the black prison. Great God, Zhang Kui is outside, and he can kill me with just one finger. Chen Qing thought about it, but still felt unsafe. And Great Immortal, you should be able to summon Great God Zhang Kui to enter the black prison. With him here, I dare not harm you even if I have 10,000 guts. Chen Qing was stunned. He immediately retreated outside and put away Zhang Kui with a thought. Then he performed the black prison ghost contracting technique on a stone. Both the stone and Chen Qing entered the black prison. Quote, Zhang Kui. With a thought, Zhang Kui really appeared in front of him. Chen Qing was overjoyed. That's easy. I have the protection of Zhang Kui, the king of ghosts, and I can contract any ghost I want in the future. Don't accept it. Zhang Kui, fight. He was overjoyed, put away Zhang Kui again, and crouched into the cement cylinder. I'm going to use the black prison ghost contracting technique, don't try to play tricks. I dare not. Black prison ghost contracting technique. The next moment, black fog enveloped both of them. Painted Skin moved his body and knelt on the ground. I'm at the mercy of the immortal. Quote. Good attitude. Chen Qing was very satisfied and performed the black prison ghost contracting technique. A black ring composed of spiritual energy, as if it were an illusion, emerged from Chen Qing's head and slowly floated towards Huopi. Chen Qing saw fear in Huopi's empty eyes. But she knelt firmly and watched the black ring on her head. The black ring tightened and finally embedded in Huopi's head. Huopi's whole body tensed up, and the next moment, she knelt again. The servant greets the master. Chen Qing lifted the black prison ghost contracting technique with a thought. Now that he is in the soul-moving realm, he can only contract 2 ghosts, one Zhang Kui and one Huapi, which is simply against the sky. After moving the stone pressing on her head, Huapi sat up. Chen Qing looked at the inconspicuous stone and asked, "Did Zhang Kui do anything to this stone?" Quote, "The immobilization ability in the 72 transformations," Painted Skin said with fear in her tone. "The great god Zhang Kui has extraordinary powers, how can a little ghost like me resist him?" "Yes, all-powerful," Zhang Kui's voice came out, and another head popped out of the necklace, grinning and saying, "You little ghost have low strength, but extraordinary vision. Go back." Chen Qing took Zhang Kui back with a thought. Painted Skin saw it, and felt both fear and joy in his heart. This person has low strength, but he can become the master of Zhang Kui, and he has the opportunity to reach the sky. Being taken in as a ghost pet is probably a great blessing that cannot be achieved in 1,000 years. "Tell me, what abilities do you have?" "The greatest ability of this servant is false form, that is, change of form, but it can only change the appearance. If you want to combine the inside and the outside, you have to possess." Quote, "For example, if it is attached to a person, it is a real person. Unless there are several pupil techniques such as fire eyes and golden pupils, no one can recognize it." Quote, Chen Qing nodded. "I seem to have heard of the fake form you mentioned. It is the fake form, magical power in the 72 transformations. I learned it naturally when the Painted Skin was formed. Of course, my fake form is not considered a magical power. When it reaches the extreme, it can deceive heaven and earth, and gods and demons cannot be distinguished." Chen Qing nodded, and asked again, "If it is attached to a ghost, the ghost can't recognize it. Is this what you mean?" "Yes." The Painted Skin nodded again. "Secondly, my whole body of cultivation is in this skin, which can be regarded as half Vajra indestructible." "Half? How can I compare with the real Vajra indestructible, but ordinary cultivators and ghosts really can't do anything to me." Chen Qing was delighted and asked, "Then can I wear you during the day?" Quote, "It's okay on cloudy days, but I can't face the sun directly." That's enough. After the painting was put into the demon suppression tower, Chen Qing returned to the base. He was very satisfied with his second ghost pet. It was a C-level evil ghost, and it was the legendary strange and indisputable Painted Skin, and it had a lot of knowledge, each of which was of great use to Chen Qing. It was Painted Skin who said that Zhang Kui had 72 transformations, which was also what Chen Qing cared about very much. 72 transformations do not refer to 72 kinds of transformations, but 72 kinds of magical powers. The various transformations that Sun Wukong used were just false forms among the 72 magical powers. No matter what kind of ghost it is, as long as it can learn one magical power, it is considered extraordinary. And according to Painted Skin's estimation, it is possible that Zhang Kui can learn half of them. I just don't know what happened. Zhang Kui was locked up in the demon suppression tower. He was still confused. Maybe he could use it next time when he got a sudden inspiration. Thinking of this, Chen Qing came to Han Yuan's office. No one was there. Soon he saw Han Yuan and Chen Man in the small martial arts arena. Han Yuan was holding a hand target, and Chen Man was wearing 2 small boxing gloves, hitting with a bang. Seeing Chen Qing, Han Yuan was full of helplessness. "Brother, come and persuade your brother." "What's wrong? Last time I saw you, you didn't rest for a minute except for eating and sleeping. You are going to be possessed." Chen Qing was startled, and remembered what Chen Man said, "I will practice well to protect you," and his heart was warmed. "I am not afraid of pain, nor tiredness," Chen Man said seriously, expressionless. Chen Qing squatted down and touched Chen Man's head. "Xiao Man, you need to stay healthy so that you can practice more powerfully, you know. Take a break and practice for a while, okay?" After much persuasion, Chen Man was willing to practice a lot, take a break a little. Han Yuan was wearing a t-shirt and shorts, showing his burly body and explosive muscles. This exaggerated body shape and muscles can be ranked second among the people Chen Qing knows. First, it's Chen Quan. "What do you think? Isn't this captain's body hot?" Quote. "If you want to change the word to awesome, I'll agree." The two came to sit aside and watched Chen Man playing with the sand belt. Han Yuan nodded and said, "It's a bit annoying, but this kid is extremely talented. He should be the most talented person I have ever seen." Chen Qing nodded. He took out the Vajra subduing demons. "Boss, this is for you. You and Xiaoman should practice it well." At this time, the Vajra subduing demons has awakened. Although it looks broken, it will definitely be able to block bullets. At the same time, the skills recorded in it have also changed slightly. Whether it is pictures or words, you can practice them after looking at them for a long time. "What is this?" Han Yuan took it and flipped through it. His expression became a little more serious, his brows furrowed, and he began to look at the first page carefully. Then, it was the second page. His expression became extremely serious, and the speed of flipping slowed down. The third page. A strong blood and qi swept through. Chen Qing was pushed aside. Han Yuan seemed to have an invisible fire on his body, and the air was distorted. This invisible fire was mixed with blood threads, jumping like red lines. The fourth page. Han Yuan's muscles bulged, as if he was fighting against some powerful existence. Beads of sweat appeared on his body, and after a while, those beads of sweat were stained with blood. The blood color gradually spread, soaking his clothes into red. It looked extremely creepy. Is he possessed? Chen Qing was worried, but he knew that he could not be disturbed at this moment, so he quietly stepped aside. Page 5. Han Yuan slowly stood up and punched hard. Bang! A visible air wave spread out. At the same time, a pillar on the ring suddenly exploded. Chen Qing was startled and hurriedly took Chen Man outside. "I want to learn the kung fu just now," Chen Man said immediately. He also saw the extraordinary nature of this skill. "It's for you two to learn." Chen Qing touched Chen Man's head. Bang, bang, bang. The movement inside was getting stronger and stronger, and the whole wall began to tremble slowly. There are big and small martial arts arenas. The big one is as big as a basketball court. There are 4 small ones, one on the left and one on the right. At this moment, everyone in the martial arts arena felt something was wrong and looked towards the small martial arts arena. "What's going on, Captain? This noise is too scary. What is he doing?" Jiba was suspicious and was about to go in to see, but was stopped by Chen Qing. "We can't disturb him now." Bang, bang, bang. The vibration was getting bigger and bigger. The entire ground of the martial arts arena was shaking slightly. Small stones fell from the wall and bounced slightly on the ground. Jiba's face changed. Get out." Everyone came outside together. Suddenly, a wall and the roof of the martial arts arena broke apart with a bang. A golden angry Vajra rose into the sky. The 6 hands waved in a circle, forming 3 Buddha seals. After a while, it slowly became transparent. Everyone was shocked. "Is this the Buddha? What is this? This is too scary." The noise gradually subsided. Chen Qing hurriedly walked in between the collapsed walls, and saw Han Yuan slowly retracting his gesture. He was covered in blood, but the blood beads all over his body could not hide the golden color of his skin. Yes, his skin color is actually golden now. As he finished his exercise, the golden color faded quickly. Han Yuan opened his eyes and smiled. Seeing the collapsed martial arts arena, he was slightly stunned, but even more happy. "Chen Qing, do you know what level this technique is? Look at this movement, it can't escape from the 3S, right? If it weren't for the 3S cap, I would give it a 5S. Han Yuan looked at the blood beads all over his body and praised, "This is simply tailor-made for my master and me, so powerful." Finally, he asked again, "Chen Qing, can other people practice this technique except Chen Man and me?" Chen Qing frowned slightly, but still nodded, "Yes." Han Yuan looked at Chen Qing solemnly, "Thank you." At this time, the muscle tyrant and a group of berserkers came in, all asking what this was. "Except for the muscle tyrant, you can forget about this skill. You can kill yourself with 2 punches. I. Can I learn it?" The muscle tyrant was overjoyed. "Take it easy. I'll break it down in the next few days. You should be able to practice 16 punches. 16 punches. Well, this skill has 18 punches, which is very scary, but the requirements for blood and qi are also terrible. You can almost practice the first 16 punches." After that, Han Yuan brought Chen Qing to the office and asked, Chen Qing, the value of this skill is extraordinary, but unfortunately the upper limit is SSS. Do you want anything? If our team doesn't have it, ask the higher-ups. They will definitely give it to you. Remember it first. The drowned ghost and the child ghost need a lot of things to advance, so there's no need to rush now. Chen Man should be able to practice the first punch now, but don't rush. Practice for a week first and raise your blood and chi first. Chen Qing smiled and said, you are his master, and you have the final say on these. Chen Qing was talking and laughing, and suddenly his body froze. He looked at the iron tower on Han Yuan's desk, which was as big as a bottle of mineral water. It was almost exactly the same as his own demon suppression tower. The old man was very happy. Captain, that is it. Han Yuan looked back. Oh, this is the second evil ghost we cleared in the ghostless temple that day. He possessed this small iron tower. Chen Qing suddenly understood why there was no ghost king in his demon suppression tower. It's not the same demon suppression tower at all. The ghost king that exploded in the blood moon still exists. And he just contracted the second ghost pet, and he can't contract the third one anymore. Chen Qing's face became extremely serious. Han Yuan was a little surprised. He looked at the demon suppression tower and thought about it, but didn't interrupt. Captain, Chen Qing's tone became extremely serious. Is it convenient to talk here? Han Yuan's eyes condensed. Follow me. Soon, the two came to a place that was as heavy as the treasure house. It looked like a dormitory, but also like a prison. This is where the bad guys are imprisoned. Only the monitoring room can see it. I have turned off the monitoring room and all the power here. If I'm not mistaken, there should be a ghost king imprisoned in that small tower just now. Han Yuan frowned. Ghost king? Yes, I've read a book that records a prophecy. The prophecy says, the tower eats ghost energy and wakes up. It can hold 12 ghosts. The ghost king is cunning and terrifying. When the blood moon comes, people are busy killing people. There are thousands of miles of bones and thousands of miles of blood. When Chen Qing said this, his eyes were always on Han Yuan. He had always suspected that the government had already known that the blood moon would come, so they made arrangements such as community defense. Sure enough, Han Yuan's eyes moved slightly when Chen Qing mentioned the blood moon. Chen Qing understood. I'm afraid the government has learned about the blood moon through some means. Even if you don't experience it yourself, you know that the disaster is coming soon. Han Yuan remembered it silently, and he naturally didn't doubt anything. Nodding and saying, I understand. I'll take this tower to the princess's tomb tonight to join in the fun. If this tower awakens, I will find a way to deal with the ghost king. When I returned to the dormitory, there were only the fat man He Runsheng and the monkey. Chen Qing asked, where is Guxing? His soul moved. The fat man looked sad and cried while holding the monkey. Ah. We are the last ones. We are so unwilling. The monkey pushed twice but failed to push it away, and said, try harder, at least the bowl of water moved today. Chen Qing has been in bed for 3 days, and everyone is making progress. Suddenly the phone rang. The fat man continued to grieve. The treatment of the great god is different, and there is a mobile phone. You can leave the base at any time. I envy you. Hello, Mr. Chen, all the pig feed you ordered will be completed tonight. Oh, Chen Qing thought about it and came outside. Order another 1,000 tons. Okay. They didn't ask for a deposit. After thinking about it, Chen Qing felt that he still had to order a batch of live pigs and chickens. Some ghosts need fresh blood and flesh to advance. Although he doesn't have such ghosts now, what if he has them in the future? You can't kill people, right? I checked it casually on the internet. At the current price of live pigs, 1 million can buy about 500 live pigs weighing 200 kilograms. Not enough. Thinking so, he called the bank manager Jin. Live pig loan. This. Manager Jin was hesitating. I plan to open a pig farm. I have already bought pig feed, and now I have to order a batch of live pigs and piglets. Quote. Manager Jin obviously didn't believe it. I am now in the Yugi army, and some purchases are not convenient for the military to intervene. Quote. Manager Jin still didn't believe it. After thinking for a while, he said, Mr. Chen, can I invite you in the Yugi army, anyone who can talk, to dinner tonight? Chen Qing had no choice but to find Han Yuan, who had just taken a shower, and told him about this. Han Yuan said, "Hey, is it so troublesome? Turn on the video." Chen Qing clicked on the video and Manager Jin answered. "Manager Jin, I am Han Yuan, do you know me?" I know. Manager Jin even stood up in the video. "Oh, that's it, Chen Qing, my brother. He is in charge of the recent purchases." Oh, no problem. Manager Jin nodded and bowed. This matter was resolved in this way. Directly approved a quota of 10 million. As for which pig farm to choose, the bank will decide which one to choose, and they will have to give some bribes. At night, Han Yuan's military vehicle drove out of the base. It was probably headed for the princess's tomb. Chen Qing. Silently meditating, practicing the 7th Zhoutian. There are 12 Zhoutian in total. After all of them are opened, the Chungguang Great Zhoutian in the mind can be opened, and the Jingpo realm will be achieved. At 10 o'clock, Monkey, Fatty, and Lone Star came back together. The training intensity was too high. After talking and making noise for a few minutes, the whole dormitory was filled with snoring. Another Zhoutian was run. Suddenly the necklace moved. Chen Qing woke up suddenly. The next moment, he felt a huge suction coming from the necklace. What is this? It's like a call. Chen Qing seemed to refuse, but it seemed impossible to refuse. In panic, Chen Qing had a thought: painted skin. The painted skin appeared instantly and wrapped Chen Qing in an instant. And turned into the appearance of another young man. In an instant, the suction of the demon suppression tower became irresistible, and Chen Qing disappeared in front of him instantly. It seems to be on a certain peak. The surroundings are empty, and the clouds and mist are slowly rolling. There is a huge round table on the top of the peak, with 12 seats spread out one by one. Some of the people sitting on it are slim and obviously look like women, while others have snake bodies and deer heads, which are extremely weird. And more people have a mist on their faces, making it hard to see through. Chen Qing is now sitting on one of the seats, feeling uneasy. He doesn't understand what's going on. The seat next to him is empty, and as he is looking at it, a figure suddenly appears on this seat. Han Yuan. Chen Qing almost cried out. As soon as Han Yuan appeared, he looked at everyone vigilantly. Okay, the 12 earthly branches towers are reunited again, and it's worth celebrating. An old man spoke in a hoarse voice. It's still the same rules, everyone can chat and trade freely. A woman with a black veil on her face asked, "Blood Moon, what exactly is coming, who can give an accurate time? I'll pay a high price for it. But the Tang Dynasty coin can be gold and silver, it can be spirit stones, it can be ghost beads, anything." Everyone was silent. The figure with a snake body and a deer head hissed, and the sound was like a saw, which was extremely unpleasant. "Do you think that my ghost clan would reveal such secrets? Don't be arrogant. Don't think that only your ghost clan has masters." The woman in black veil was furious. Chen Qing's heart was pounding, and he suddenly understood something. This woman, I'm afraid she is a top figure in the human race. After thinking for a while, Chen Qing asked softly, "I don't know how to trade." The voice was clear, but it was obviously not Chen Qing's own voice. The woman was overjoyed. "My fellow Taoist, please follow me." Chen Qing was curious, so he got up and followed. The ghost with a snake body and a deer head hissed, "We don't know when the blood moon will come, and you believe in a young boy." The woman in black veil was slightly startled, but perhaps with the attitude of trying her best, she came to the side with Chen Qing. This place is not far from the round table, but the voices of others disappeared inexplicably. The black veil was not thick, but it covered the woman tightly. Somehow, Chen Qing could feel her staring at him. "Daoyu, are you sure you know the exact time when the blood moon will come?" "Yes." The woman was silent, finally asked, "How much do you want?" Chen Qing didn't know how to bid. This kind of information should be worth billions. But, how much exactly? 100 million, Chen Qing said lightly, and then add the same value of gold, silver, spirit stones, and ghost beads. Ah, the woman was a little surprised, suddenly bowed, and bowed heavily, "Thank you Daoyu. The price of the baggage is too high." Looking at the respectful look of the woman, Chen Qing knew that his price should be too low. He wanted very little, very little, very little. The woman moved her mind and handed over 4 bags. Chen Qing was a little confused, but in order not to show his timidity, he took it calmly and said, August 15th. The woman's body stiffened. This year. What else? Chen Qing was puzzled, but still nodded heavily. Yes. It lasted for half a month, and then the sun continued for half a month, and it repeated over and over again. The woman was slightly startled. She also had her own channels. Chen Qing's words should be confirmed by a certain news. She asked in a trembling voice, repeatedly. Yes. The two returned to their seats. Chen Qing originally wanted to put the 4 small bags into the demon suppression tower, but the demon suppression tower was ineffective. Or, everyone is probably in the demon suppression tower now. At the moment, they could only weigh the 4 bags and return to their seats. However, this action caused some people on the scene to misunderstand. The monster with a snake body and a deer head looked at Chen Qing and thought to himself, this young man is so confident, I think he is not simple. He is deliberately targeting my ghost clan, even demonstrating. At this time, Zhang Kui wanted to show up again. Chen Qing was anxious and quickly took him back with a thought. Chen Qing took it back quickly, and Zhang Kui couldn't even show a finger. But, the faces of everyone present changed. In an instant, they felt the breath of at least dozens of magical powers on the body of this young man. The veiled woman was the first to be overjoyed. Fortunately, I didn't doubt Chen Qing just now, and fortunately, this is a great man on our side. I thought to myself, I don't know where this senior is practicing in seclusion. If we ask him to come out, this crisis will be safely overcome. But then I thought, he didn't want to come out, but I'm afraid he has paid a terrible price to get the exact news of the arrival of the blood moon. For a moment, he was a little dazed. Others were also thinking. He has so many magical auras on his body, I don't know which great man he is. What a complex magical aura. Dare to practice so many magical powers, I don't know where this senior came from. The old man who spoke before laughed hoarsely. I thought it was a little guy with a great opportunity, but I didn't expect it to be an old senior who is in seclusion. I'm sorry. Another person also said, I don't know where the senior's cave is. Can I visit? Chen Qing naturally didn't know who they were talking about, and was afraid of revealing his true identity, so he sat quietly. Very stable. After trying for a while, the crowd didn't get an answer, so they didn't pursue it any further. One of them, who was as short as a child, sighed in his heart, even Ratboss doesn't take this senior seriously, I don't know where he came from. I need a beauty steal, and I'm willing to pay a high price for it. Another person said. The short child sighed, and immediately said happily, I have it. At that moment, the two came to the side and made a deal. A person covered in mist said, I need a ghost servant of the Taoist level. I wonder which Taoist friend is willing to give it up. The monster with a snake body and a deer head sneered, who gave you the courage to buy a ghost servant in front of me? The person in the mist laughed, I bought this ghost servant to kill him for the elixir. I wonder what Brother Zhu can do to me. Good. The monster with a snake body and a deer head sneered, don't let me catch you. The woman in black veil thought for a while and said, I do have it, but I also need it. I wonder what price you will offer. At that moment, the two of them left the round table area and went to trade on the side. But Chen Qing was thinking in his heart. Taoist corpse. What is this? Listening to the tone of the man, this should be a level. Is the level above the evil spirit called Taoist corpse? Han Yuan has been watching silently without making a sound. I want to inquire about someone, who should be in the territory of Wangquan Ghost Mansion, a person spoke. Chen Qing was shocked. This voice, so familiar. This person is shrouded in fog, but, this person is extremely burly, at least 2 meters tall. Could it be Chen Quan? The burly figure slowly said, the name is Huang Yi. Huang Yi. This is my mother's name. Chen Qing's last bit of doubt disappeared. This person is the eldest brother Chen Quan. Although I haven't heard of it, I am quite familiar with the Wangquan Ghost Mansion. I wonder how much you will offer. This figure curled up on the chair, like a cat or a leopard. As they talked, the two came to the side. After a while, it seemed that the deal had been settled and they returned to their seats. Chen Qing was shocked. The elder brother was looking for his mother. Didn't they say that his mother ran away with a wild man before? Is there another hidden story? Could the disappearance of his elder brother and father be related to this? Chen Qing's mind turned quickly. The leading old man smiled and said, "It's almost time, please go back. Look forward to seeing you again in half a month." Ha! The stars moved in front of him. Chen Qing returned to the bed, with the 4 bags. Thinking of everything just now, it was full of absurdity. Thinking of Chen Quan, I felt mixed emotions. I never expected that the reunion with Chen Quan would be in such a place. He was looking for his mother. Did his mother get lost? Or was she kidnapped? Listening to the name of the place, it doesn't sound like it's in the human world. Could it be in the underworld? I took out my phone and checked it. Sure enough, there was no such place name. After thinking for a while, he asked Huapi, "Huapi, do you know Wangquan Ghost Mansion?" Ghost Mansion is the name of the underworld, but the underworld is too big and is divided into countless ghost mansions. I have never heard of Wangquan Ghost Mansion. Ah. You go back. Chen Qing was a little unnatural. Somehow, Huapi attached herself directly to the skin when she possessed. There was a hole in her that just happened to accommodate Ding Ding's exposure. It always felt a little weird. Huapi chuckled and was taken into the demon suppression tower by Chen Qing. According to today's observation, there should be 12 demon suppression towers. I don't know how they can be connected. Han Yuan also appeared at the party, and it was obvious that the tower in his hand was also activated. In this way, he would definitely take the prophecy, he said seriously, and find a way to deal with the Ghost King in the tower. As for the fact that such a thing would happen only after suppressing 12 ghosts and Ghost Kings, Chen Qing definitely didn't need to remind him. I'm afraid he has killed several of them during the trip to the princess tomb today. Thinking of this, he took the cloth bag to have a look, and it was pitch black inside. He reached in and felt it, and was stunned for a moment. Looking at the palm-sized cloth bag, he could actually stuff his entire arm into it. When he took it out again, he already had a handful of slightly colored transparent beads in his hand. These beads were the same size as glass balls, but they contained a huge amount of spiritual energy. It smells so good. Give me one. Give me one. I'm so hungry. Zhang Kui's voice came out again, and a hand stretched out to grab it. This feeling was really strange. An adult's root was buried in the necklace, as thin as a hair. Anyway, there were a lot of beads, so Chen Qing gave him a few. With something on his mind, he couldn't meditate or sleep in the second half of the night. About an hour later, Han Yuan's voice came from the door. Chen Qing, are you asleep? The old man was very happy. Chen Qing came to the door, and Han Yuan whispered, "Let's go." Arriving at the office, Han Yuan said seriously, "Chen Qing, the prophecy is indeed correct." Ah, Chen Qing pretended not to know. I participated in the operation of the princess tomb tonight, and the tower awakened. As soon as I woke up, I was pulled to a very far place. It's a bit like an online meeting, and it's full of scary old monsters. Especially the teenager next to me. Those old monsters are very polite and respectful to this teenager, but unfortunately my cultivation is too low, and I can't feel that this teenager is any different. Chen Qing realized that the senior they had been talking about at the time was actually himself. This young man is very powerful. Judging from his expression today, he actually calculated the time when the disaster will come. So the most important thing now is to find him. Take a look, do you recognize him? As he said, Han Yuan took out an A4 paper with a head portrait printed on it. It was 90% similar to the appearance of his painted skin today. Fortunately, there is a painted skin. Chen Qing was relieved, looked at it carefully for a while, and shook his head and said, "I don't think I know him. I don't recognize him." Han Yuan was not surprised, and asked again, "The reason I came here is to ask you, are there any other prophecies about this tower? Especially the blood moon, is there anything else mentioned?" "No more." Chen Qing shook his head. Han Yuan nodded solemnly and said, "But since the prophecy is partially correct, it is worth taking seriously. I will go to the commander tonight and make some arrangements." "Partially correct, yes, and no." Han Yuan nodded. "Didn't the prophecy say that 12 ghosts could be locked up? But my tower can only lock up 6 ghosts. This time, it was Chen Qing's turn to be stunned. Logically, Each of the 12 towers can suppress 12 ghosts. Does this mean that the number of ghosts that each tower can lock up is different? There should be 12 towers in total. I estimate that the number of ghosts that each tower can lock up is different. Han Yuan gave the same judgment as Chen Qing. He waved his hand and said, "Anyway, you have made a great contribution this time. I'm leaving." After a while, Han Yuan drove out of the base in a military vehicle with his tower. Is my tower the Tower King? Naturally, Chen Qing guessed that the number of ghosts suppressed by these 12 towers ranged from 1 to 12. Looking at the departing military vehicle, Chen Qing sighed. If he were Han Yuan, he would not dare to make this artifact public. 2 lives are enough to see a person clearly. And Han Yuan is undoubtedly a trustworthy person. If he is open and honest with him and shares information, he should be able to get a lot of information about the Demon Suppression Tower. However, after experiencing the Blood Moon, Chen Qing dare not. Human nature only exists when the social structure is not broken. Ghost bead. Give me a ghost bead. Zhang Kui's voice came out suddenly, scaring Chen Qing. 4 bags, one filled with 100 million, one filled with gold and silver worth 100 million, one filled with spiritual stones worth 100 million, and one ghost bead worth 100 million. Chen Qing took out the last bag, reached out, and took out a ghost bead. A finger bone. After experiencing the Blood Moon, Chen Qing naturally knew that although the ghost bead is called bead, it has different shapes. But he had only seen a few, not so many now. He flipped through them casually, and found that there were blood beads, gelatinous ones, bones, fruits, and beads among these ghost beads. Zhang Kui grabbed a finger bone, stuffed it into his mouth, and started chewing it. He took out the first pocket, which contained 10 bank cards. After leaving the base, Chen Qing transformed into a migrant worker in a hidden corner. He found an ATM machine at random and inserted the card. There was no password interface, and the withdrawal transfer page appeared directly. 10 million. Of course, he would not be stupid enough to transfer it to his own account, so he put the card away. Suddenly there was an extra 100 million, but he was surprisingly calm. After thinking about it, he had to spend the money quickly. Even if it was to buy toilet paper. About 100 million. No matter what he bought, it was considered a large transaction. I have no connections and no experience in this area. I can't just pick an online store and fill in hundreds of millions in the quantity column, right? How should I spend it? Find manager Yang of the safe house. It's also an option. I thought about this all night. In the morning, Chen Qing's phone rang. Mrs. Wu. Chen Qing was stunned. Could it be that he regretted it and wanted to get the Zhang Kui painting back? After answering the phone, "Hello, Li Qing, this is Mrs. Wu." "Hi, Mrs. Wu. It's like this, I still have a few old items in my hand. I wonder if the foreign friend behind you last time is still interested." Chen Qing was slightly startled, and then overjoyed. "I was just worried about not being able to spend money. Let me ask." "Mrs. Wu, please wait." After thinking for a while, he asked Huapi, "Huapi, can you identify antiques?" "I can't identify, but I can tell the age." Huapi added, "I can tell through spiritual energy." The so-called identification is to tell the origin, background, function, etc. of this antique. And dating is simply to determine the dynasty. But this is enough for Chen Qing. At that moment, Chen Qing called back, "Mr. Ruan is in Ziming City. He has something to do and will leave tomorrow. Mrs. Wu, you'd better prepare more things." Chen Qing added in a low voice, "He has successfully negotiated the deal this time, and the cash flow is sufficient." "Oh," Mrs. Wu's voice revealed joy. Okay, see you tonight." After hanging up the phone, Chen Qing randomly booked a room and took Huapi to cram antique knowledge for a day. At night, Huapi turned into a thin and capable middle-aged man. Chen Qing followed her with a briefcase. Soon, the two arrived at the agreed place. The name of the store is Gaiyunxiang. The decoration is very simple. Chen Qing is already familiar with Wu Xiaomin and Mrs. Wu. There is also an old man wearing a tang suit and silver hair, who is obviously a person in this field. There is also a very kind fat man. Huapi shook hands with everyone one by one and asked directly, "Where is the thing?" Everyone was stunned. Chen Qing smiled and said, "Mr. Ruan is in a hurry and may have to leave tonight." Bosses, if possible, bring all the good things now. Everyone heard this and no longer hesitated. Mrs. Wu took out a picture. Old man under the crane, it is said to be Tang Bohu. It's from the Qing dynasty, no. Painted Skin shook his head, next one. At this moment, the four looked at each other in shock. It's not a big deal to be able to determine that it's from the Qing dynasty, but everyone asked themselves if they could make such a sure judgment after just one look. At that moment, they became more serious. The silver-haired old man took out a jade ring. This thing is a Southern Song dynasty phoenix wearing peony pattern jade ring. It's from the Yuan dynasty. Painted Skin interrupted, how much? The silver-haired old man said, 2 million. It's expensive. Painted Skin shook his head, next one. Everyone felt that it was getting tricky. They had never seen such a boss before. Painted Skin was a little dissatisfied and put a bank card on the table. Everyone, we'd better not waste time. I'm going to have a meal and will be back in 45 minutes. I hope you are all ready by then. He went out. Chen Qing turned back and apologized. I'm sorry, everyone, Mr. Ruan is just like this. His family started out as an antique dealer, and he is very familiar with the market. As long as the price is right, he will buy it. By the way, he prefers ghost culture and old objects that are not precious but a bit old. Wu Xiaomin nodded. I understand. When they came back, the four had prepared a lot of things. The fat middle-aged man took out an ancient jade with a bloody color and said, this is a blood-stained ancient jade, picked out from the mouth of a princess. Because of the heavy yin energy, it has never been sold. Huapi looked around and nodded, how much? The market price is 50,000. Okay, I'll take it. Huapi put the jade directly beside the table. The fat middle-aged man was startled and smiled, Mr. Ruan is really generous. The four people took turns to bring things up, showing off their skills just now. Several people no longer dared to be arrogant, and the prices they asked were quite fair. The fat middle-aged man took out a femur wrapped in a silver bag, which looked like a mallet. The silver-haired old man smiled and said, why did you bring this thing out? The fat middle-aged man smiled and said, this is a dead person's bone. I guess you know what it is. 100,000. The fat middle-aged man was stunned and hesitated. This thing can summon spirits. You can't calm it down. The fat middle-aged man nodded and gave a thumbs up. Sir, you are indeed an expert. Okay, 100,000. These 9 relics came from the temple. I dare not brag in front of experts, and I am not sure about the age. The silver-haired old man smiled. It seems that he still wants to test the painted skin. The painted skin frowned for a moment. It should be from Dali Duanshi. I am convinced. The silver-haired old man sighed. How much? The price of relics has always been volatile. How about 500,000? Okay. The painted skin nodded and put the relics next to him. The eyes of the four people lit up. The fat middle-aged man brought a long wooden box and opened it. A smell of rust and fishy smell came from it. Bronze ware, should be from the Warring States period. 12 million. I believe Mr. Ruan also knows that I didn't bid randomly. Hiss. The three of them took a breath. This is the highest bid so far. If it is still buried in the soil, it will not change in 1,000 years, but now it is rusted. In less than half a year, there will only be a pile of copper rust. The fat middle-aged man's face changed slightly. He handled it very cleanly. How did this man find it? 1 million. The fat middle-aged man frowned. Since you know it is rusty, why do you still offer 1 million? Don't worry about it. The fat middle-aged man frowned and stretched his brows, obviously wavering. After a while, he gritted his teeth and said, add another 500,000. Okay. Half an hour later, the four people had finished looking at the things they brought. Huapi collected 19 items, with a total price of less than 6 million. The fat middle-aged man immediately stood up. Mr. Ruan, I have a few items at home, which are a bit big and inconvenient to bring over. Can you come and take a look? Sure, Huapi said, and said to Chen Qing, Li Qing, collect all these. Okay, Chen Qing asked. Gentlemen, do you want to transfer the money now? No hurry, let's wait and see. The fat middle-aged man immediately waved his hand. The silver-haired old man handed over the phone directly, transfer it to this card. There are too many scammers in this business. Huapi handed Chen Qing a card. Go and transfer it. At that moment, Chen Qing accompanied the silver-haired old man downstairs and transferred the money at the ATM machine. Seeing the money arrive, the silver-haired old man finally felt relieved and said, "Little friend Li, you go to Chin's house first, I'll go and prepare. Please come to my house later." "Okay, old man," Chen Qing agreed. After a while, the three of them came to the fat middle-aged man's house. On the edge of the city, there is a Chinese-style villa with a large courtyard. The fat middle-aged man took the two to the garage and opened a secret door, and a musty smell came immediately. Turning on the lights, two blood-colored horses as tall as adults appeared in front of them. One was standing, and the other raised its front hooves, as if neighing. Most importantly, both horses had wings. Chen Qing was immediately excited. If both horses can awaken, it means that he has two flying horses. This is a ghost weapon, it has some evil spirits, and people with some strength are a little taboo, so no one has ever lived in this house. The fat middle-aged man said, "It is definitely an old thing, the price, 10 million per piece." "Too expensive." Painted Skin shook his head. "Look at the others. You should bargain." The fat middle-aged man said helplessly, "How about this, 10 million for 2 pieces? 2 million each piece." The fat middle-aged man pondered for a moment. "Deal." Quote. At that moment, the three of them walked forward and saw two stone sculptures sitting like dogs. One of them was hard to tell whether it was a lion or a dog, and the other had a human head and a lion body. The tomb guardian beast, like the two horses, has a heavy yin energy and has never been sold. 2 million. 2 together, 1 million. Deal. Quote. This fat middle-aged man looks kind, but he is probably a tomb robber behind the scenes. The things in the warehouse are basically not allowed to be seen in public. After buying a few more things, the fat middle-aged man led the two to a warehouse. There are many antiques on the shelves that have not even had time to clean the dirt. A rough estimate is that there are probably thousands of things in this warehouse alone. The most eye-catching thing is that on the shelves on the west wall, there are a full 20 pieces of armor and matching spears. It's just that the armor and spears are very rusty. The spear shafts are made of fine steel, but they are covered with thick rust, and it feels like they will break if touched. The armor is better, but the threads have long been corroded and disappeared. The threads worn now were put on later. Chen Qing was very excited. Painted Skin naturally understood and asked, "These 20 sets of armor and spears should have matching horses, right?" "Yes." The fat middle-aged man led the two to another warehouse, and sure enough, there were 20 terracotta horses. But they were not as exquisite as the two flying horses, and one of them had its head broken, and another had a broken leg. "How much are these 20 sets of armor, spears and war horses?" The fat middle-aged man's face lit up. "These things are too tricky. I haven't been able to find a buyer. Even if I put them here, I'm worried every day. Now I finally found a buyer. The same armor sold at Dingjia auction house last year was 8.36 million. It's meaningless to say this." Painted Skin shook his head. "These things can't be seen in the light, and no one dares to eat them except me." The fat middle-aged man was silent for a while. After a while, he said, "A total of 50 million. 5 million. Mr. Ruan, your bid is too much." The fat middle-aged man frowned. "This bid is not random, it is indeed based on your sincerity." Quote. Painted Skin thought for a while, and suddenly said, "Mr. Chin, why don't you retire? I'll take over the entire warehouse." The fat middle-aged man was slightly stunned. "What? Pack up everything in the entire warehouse for me, 20 million. The fat middle-aged man paused and shook his head, saying, "Mr. Ruan is joking." "I'm serious," Huapi said word by word. The fat middle-aged man narrowed his eyes. 40 million. One price. Huapi frowned and thought for a long time, and said, "Including those just now, the total is 30 million. This is my last bid." The fat middle-aged man was entangled. The value of these things is naturally far more than this price. But they can't see the light. Each one is a hot potato. After a while, the fat middle-aged man made up his mind. "Okay. But it has to be a cash transaction." Huapi handed him 3 bank cards. "Anonymous cards, it's considered a cash transaction." The fat middle-aged man paused slightly and showed the key in his hand. "Let's go and trade." If the transaction is successful, it's yours. Boss Chin, there won't be any cameras here. No, using that thing is courting death. Soon, the transaction was completed. The three returned to the door, and the fat middle-aged man handed the key to Huapi, smiling, Mr. Ruan, why don't you buy this manor together? Not much, 10 million. No need. Huapi shook his head. If it was 10 days ago, he could have taken it, but it's too late to upgrade the safe house here now. Okay, I'll give you the key. I'll come back in a month and I'll change all the door locks. How did you take it away? I don't ask, and I don't know. Chen Qing had an idea. Huapi immediately understood. Mr. Chin, I want to ask, where is this tomb? The fat middle-aged man frowned, it's empty. Just consider it as I owe you a favor. The fat middle-aged man was silent for a moment and wrote down an address. Then, the fat middle-aged man got into the driver's car and drove away. The driver asked, Brother, how about? Don't have any bad ideas. Like he said, I should retire too. Have the people watching the manor withdrawn. Withdraw. The less land, the safer it is. Chen Qing and Huapi returned to the warehouse. Master, how is my performance? In the warehouse, Huapi turned into a beautiful girl. Very good. Chen Qing looked at everything here and began to collect things with the demon suppression tower. The things here can almost open a small museum. Even if it is only half awakened, it can become a powerful force. After collecting the things, the silver-haired old man called. The three of them came to his house, which was also a manor, but much smaller than Qin Pang's. The silver-haired old man collected mostly calligraphy and paintings, including works by masters, and they came from a legitimate source. But the asking price was too high, and they failed to reach an agreement. The silver-haired old man took out an imperial edict. This is an imperial edict from the Song dynasty, which conferred the title of Wu Zhuangyuan on Li Baoyi. Chen Qing didn't feel anything, but Huapi asked, how much? The imperial edict of Haozong is estimated to be worth 100 million. Although this one is less, 20 million is required. The number of imperial edicts handed down from generation to generation is quite large, and they are not so valuable. Are there any other imperial edicts? The one for Wu Zhuangyuan. I have 2 more. The silver-haired old man took 2 more. But one was not in good condition, and the other was too recent. The imperial edict is worth less than 1 million. The 3 together are worth 3 million. The silver-haired old man thought for a while and agreed. With the things in that warehouse, the next things are basically not worth looking at. Mr. Ruan, you may like this last one. The silver-haired old man brought the 2 to the corner of the manor. There was a doghouse here. But there was no dog inside, but a black panther with goat horns. Tomb Guardian Beast. This thing has a strong evil spirit. I dare not keep it at home, but I can't bear to throw it away. Please make a price. 50,000. Okay. At that moment, the 2 paid the money, and Chen Qing carried the Tomb Guardian Beast away. And this scene also scared the silver-haired old man. This Tomb Guardian Beast is not small. After coming outside and putting all the things into the demon suppression tower, Chen Qing asked, is the imperial edict of great use? Yes. Painted Skin smiled. What is the purpose of these 3 imperial edicts? Chen Qing thought about it, conferring. As soon as the words came out, he immediately understood. His face was full of shock. That's right. If all 3 can awaken, it means that the master will have 3 more martial arts champions under his command. However, Chen Qing has never heard of what level of ghost martial arts champion is. The Wandering Soul realm is called a warrior, and the Evil Ghost realm is a martial arts champion. It is one of the top ghosts in the 100 Ghosts record. Evil Ghost. Directly confer the title of Evil Ghost. Chen Qing was a little stunned. Does the Emperor's decree have such great power? It's just that the human race's luck is declining, and the Emperor is also in decline. If the Emperor of the ancient times is still alive, he can directly confer the title of Evil Spirit level with a golden mouth. Quote. Chen Qing was a little stunned. Then how powerful are these emperors? Painted Skin, what other powerful beings do you know in the 100 Ghosts record? Tell me all. It's not that I don't want to say it, but some beings will shorten your life after hearing them. As long as they are above the Evil Spirit level, they are more or less formless. It doesn't mean that you can't see it, but you don't deserve to remember it even if you hear or see it. So, you may have just seen such a master in the last moment, but in the blink of an eye, you can no longer remember it. The good thing is that it's just hard to remember. If it's a bit evil, just hearing the name will be punished by heaven. Quote. That level of existence is against the will of heaven. Chen Qing was stunned. Painted Skin solemnly warned. It is very dangerous to explore the darkness too much. Even if you just listen passively, it is very dangerous. The strange existence in the darkness will use all means to pull you into it. I understand. Chen Qing nodded and remembered it solemnly. After calculating, the total amount of this sea purchase is 38 million. Not to mention buying a small museum, even if only one horse is awakened, it is a huge profit. Especially the 3 Tomb Guardian beasts that are almost given away for free. Tomb Guardian beasts have a strong deterrent effect on ghosts. Just awaken one and put it at home. Even if there is no Zhang Kui map, you will not be in danger. It's so cool. The more Chen Qing looks at Painted Skin, the more he likes it. Tell me, what reward do you want? Painted Skin was excited when he heard it. Master, can you reward me with a ghost bead? Quote. Perhaps she felt that she had asked for too much, so she added weakly, a ghost level 1 will do. What kind of ghost bead do you want? Painted Skin was full of expectation. Do you have a ghost bead for holding flowers? Holding flowers means holding an umbrella. Chen Qing quickly found a palm-sized umbrella. This one. This is it. Painted Skin was overjoyed. Then she said, I may need to stay in seclusion for a few days. Master, please wait for me for a few days. As she spoke, Painted Skin disappeared. Chen Qing was stunned for a moment, and summoned Painted Skin again. Painted Skin was surprised. What's wrong? The time flow rate in the Demon Suppression Tower is 15,000 times faster, and inside, isn't it almost like time is still? How do you practice? There is a second floor. Painted Skin was surprised. Master, don't you know? Quote, I don't know. Why didn't anyone tell me? Painted Skin explained. The great god Zhang Kui lived on the second floor from the beginning. I couldn't go up there originally, but after the last gathering at the top of the mountain, I can go up to the second floor. The time inside is the same as in reality. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.